And low. Anyone there? And
And
low?
low.
And low.
You forgot the profile picture. Hold on.
No.
Oh, I got it. Hello? Anyone
Hello.
here? Hello? Let me see if I can get him. All right, buddy. Take it away.
And low.
Yeah. So, this is going to be a little more of a casual stream. There was people I was hoping to get on, but that kind of fell flat, so I guess it's going to be a little more unprepared and more of a free fall. Maybe more people might show up later. Hopefully. But,
So we're gonna watch Haz debate Destiny.
and no, I've already, that one's been done to death, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But there is a certain little, there's someone who the little monkey has debated, and it happens to be, a guy named a tall monkey, a Xander tall monkey.
Zendertal.
Let me just. And also, I hope the audio works. Let me know if the audio works because I. What? Wait. Okay. Oh no, I'm being a boomer.
You know the little tabs that it shows, like I think there's 3 of them?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear it?
I can't hear anything.
Oh.
Did you click share audio?
Yeah, I did. Maybe I might have to do it the old-fashioned way. Besides, it's more personal this way anyway, so it's more fun.
There we
Oh,
go.
I don't know what this gay ass intro is.
Yeah.
We're gonna debate him.
Yeah. Hey there.
So,
How you doing?
Hold on.
Hey there.
I can't hear him. Let me hold on, guys, in the chat. I'm gonna capture it. Let me hold on, guys.
Why did he leave this part in the video?
Wait,
When
can you
it's- I
turn
can't-
on headphones or something to eliminate the echo?
Window capture. I know what the fuck he's saying. Window capture.
Let me pause for a second. The sad thing about Haz is he's such a little ape that he didn't even remember to take that part out. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
You're supposed to speak. I thought you were supposed to speak fast and bold and big and burly, and a big bad
This is
burly
yeah.
man monkey.
He's
I mean,
little
you're supposed to be fucking with people for stuttering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but there's technological stuttering happening. So what does that say about you, Haz?
Discord. Discord. What is this? This is okay. This is so fucking scum. All right. Show your face.
You can see it on my stream. I only have one webcam. Discord doesn't let you use your same webcam twice. I can only use it on my stream or on Discord. I don't have a choice.
Okay. Xander. So what's all this stuff you calling me a Nazi, huh?
No, I'm saying that your rhetoric is very similar to that of a Nazi. The idea
Why
that
did
any
I-
information that goes against your worldview is
When did I
CIA
say that?
propaganda. Very much. You
When did I
literally
say
said it to
that?
me in my Discord or in my.
No.
my
What
DMs.
I said is that it's fabricated by the CIA and by the Nazis.
The CIA.
Ah, he did the meme. Okay.
CIA.
Okay,
the
here's one
Nazis.
thing to ask. Didn't the CIA America destroy the Nazis? Didn't all? Okay, it's kind
CIA
of like
didn't even
what
exist
Gay
at the time.
hold on a second. Well, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, well, the establishment that he's talking about, didn't they kill the Nazis? It's kind of like what Jay was talking about. The liberal elites are fascists. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They killed fascists.
Oh
They
yes,
hated
my
fascists.
yes, my favorite Hitler apologist, Churchill. Totally Hitler apologetics.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think Hall would hate Churchill because he's an Anglo. You know what? And we know how Churchill would have responded to him being called an
And if-
Anglo. He'd be like,
And
yes.
if Churchill was a Mongol, he would love him.
I didn't say that this a priori means that that's the reason it's wrong.
No,
So I didn't make
it's just
any
like when
claim
Nazis. No,
like-
it's just like when
Here we go with the
that,
philosophical
glorifies the
bullshit.
existence of the Holocaust is Jewish propaganda. It's the same fucking thing. I could link you article after study
Link 'em,
after
link 'em,
fucking
let's go
historical
through 'em.
article,
Let's
and
link
you
through
would
'em.
say
I'm
every
not-
single
no,
fucking one of them was Nazi or was
Link 'em, link
CIA.
'em.
By the way, we're like 2 minutes in and it's already.
Oh god, he's already chimping
It's
out.
already blood
Stupid.
sports.
No. At least with no.
I
here's
mean,
the
everything
thing, at
is
least-
just blood sports with this guy.
It's still better than when me and Kanzik debated him because he chimped out like the second we both got in there.
Yeah.
Like literally,
I
the
mean, you
first
should have
thing
went
was-
in there, like Grayson. You should have went in there acting like a total goofball.
Yeah,
Bait him.
literally the first thing he says to me is, "Cocksucker, what do you want?"
Yeah.
He
Man,
didn't even
Link 'em.
know you.
now, I'm just coming here to argue with you.
Listen. I'm not going to dismiss your sources as CIA and Nazi off the bat. I'm going to go through them with you. So why are you making assumptions?
I'm not here to argue about you with or argue.
Hold on, I have to send an invite to someone because that's the one person I managed to neglect to invite. So I'll be
Yes,
back.
sir.
I'll share back.
Oh, if you have to invite somebody, invite Kanzik.
I think
Or
you probably
Hawkwatch.
see it in the. I think you probably would see it in the Bloodhouse chat. Who knows?
No, it's Savik.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just
Hey, you seem to delete your videos.
me.
No, I mean, Captain. Over
Oh
here.
no, I'm just taking a break for now. I'm touching grass right now.
Okay.
To quote Dave Rubin.
So yeah. Anyway, so that was the first 2 minutes. What do you think of the debate so far? Who do you think is winning?
Haw's gonna win.
Xander Tall stands no chance.
Yeah, Big Monkey Gang
Pause.
gonna win, prevail.
Big Monkey wins every time.
Obviously.
I can't think of a single time Big Monkey has lost the debate. Actually, unironically, I think Hall against one during the Walsh debate. He had one point that was actually legitimate, and then continued to act like a goofball throughout the rest of it.
What was that point?
It was like on Navalny, where basically he called out Walsh for saying Navalny, despite the fact Navalny had some. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, Bosch is kind of like a Marxist. He kind of denies reality.
Oh yeah, he's an absolute partisan hack. Like, he literally says that tankies aren't even left wing, which is fucking ridiculous because they are, I would say, the most adherent to Marxist Leninist thought. I mean,
Yeah, they're the real followers. Seems to be sanitizing.
yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. Yeah, he stands.
So is Neanderthal.
Well, yeah, with Vosh, he'll stand I can't speak. He'll stand he'll stand Cuba, and also the Sandinistas.
I think Neanderthal is like a more reasonable version of Walsh. Like, I don't think he stands Cuba.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into Xanderthal that much. Xanderthal that
He
much.
was against pulling out of Afghanistan. I know that.
Yeah, that was pretty based. Speaking of that, you remember the tweet that Kraut made?
Yeah,
He called him a grifter.
yeah. Proud just does have some unhinged moments, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes like he will make a legitimate point, but he also sometimes acts in like an unhinged manner that.
He tried to act cordial with Destiny.
Yeah, he was standing the entire time, dancing around, making lasso and bow and arrow.
We'll react.
Oh.
Oh wait, it's Savik. The backbencher's here. How's it
Am I
going?
live?
Hey, how's
Yeah.
it going, man?
Is this on?
Yeah,
Yep.
it will.
Oh, yay. All right, so what did I miss? All I heard was that there was some communist flipping out online. It was our favorite friend Haz, who doesn't know how to
Mr.
conversation. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, basically.
Your name is Savik, right? That's your profile.
That's my Twitter name, yeah, but I'm the backbencher on YouTube. You can call me whatever you want, whatever's easier. I guess Savak is easier because it's just shorter.
I'll call you Savik.
Nice.
Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, you just missed 3 minutes of it. It was basically him having technical issues because he's a dumb monkey. So we're just.
You don't get it. He's not an Anglo.
I'm drunk as fuck. I'm having a meteor stream.
So I want to know
I'm
where
here
you
to
get
fuck
the
with you.
idea that there was a genocide, intentional genocide against Ukrainians.
That's when the Russians invaded.
Yeah. Oh, when they purposely removed food from Ukraine to feed the masses.
The starvation of the kulaks, which was heavily documented. Were those Ukrainians? I'm not sure.
Kulaks were all over the place, but they were all still a lot in Ukraine. Like, the only thing about the Ukrainian famine is that I think the Holodomor sometimes overshadows the other atrocities that were committed in, like, Kazakhstan, but that's about the only criticism of, like, Holodomor politics in a nutshell for me.
Sure, I'll explain my reasoning. So it seems
Okay, go ahead.
I assume you know this because you're a big old fan of the Russian USSR history, right?
100% Stalinist gang. 100% Stalinist.
Okay, cool.
Oh, no.
Imagine unironically calling yourself Stalinist gang.
Yeah, yes. Even though
I thought Stalinists, they kind of. Yeah, I mean, even MLs reject that term Stalinist. Like, nobody really says, "Oh, yeah, I'm a Stalinist." It's kind of used as a slur.
Stalin literally died in his own piss.
It doesn't take a lot of brains to just use force and kill everybody who's your political opposition. That's we've been dealing that with centuries. It takes nuance to have an American Revolution based on the Scottish Enlightenment, to have separated branches of power, to be the masters of your own destiny. That takes brains. I mean, people may not like Jonah Goldberg, but his last book points out that throughout history, we've either been a servant to a lord, to a king. We've always been serfs of some way or another. But it takes brains to actually try to govern yourselves. It takes no brains to be Stalin, to put people in mass graves and starve people. It takes nothing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Honestly, I will say this. I don't think like you can
but
Lenin was obviously a bad person, but he definitely wasn't.
I mean, Savick, what do you disagree with Goldberg on?
No, well, not on that book and on that point I don't. But I'm just talking about Goldberg in general and his usually outlashes against the conservative movement. I just don't want people in my audience to think I'm a huge Jonah Goldberg fan. But I'm smart enough to be nuanced and say that when Jonah Goldberg says something right, that I agree with him, and I agree with him a lot, and he says things wrong that I disagree with him on. But in regards to his last book, which I read, it was absolutely brilliant on that point. Is that for the longest time in history we've been under somebody else, and it takes work to be free.
Yeah, I've heard that guy is called a neocon.
I don't have a problem with that part of him, but he seems to be more of the wing that believes that I don't know, maybe less conservative than I would like.
The Bill Kristol type.
Yeah, he's a Bill Kristol type, which Bill Kristol I always read and enjoyed, and then he just goes on these tangents. It almost seems like he feels like he's personally insulted. He can be both the smartest and dumbest man in the same paragraph, which is quite astounding that only Billy Crystal can do.
I do agree with him on the Iraq War.
Bill Kristol is not. Bill Kristol is not his father. I'll say that. Like,
I agree with that.
His father was like this. He was like the godfather of neoconservatism. Like, there's no competing with his father.
He seems petulant at times.
Do you agree with me on the idea that there was a combination of maybe mismanaged resources as well as natural disasters that caused there to be a famine during the time of the USSR?
The natural disasters being
there was a fucking famine. There's no dispute about that.
Yes, there was a drought. There was tons of natural disasters that contributed to a famine. There was also the fact that
It was the collectivization that led to famine. No one denies that. And there was a drought. There was a lot of factors.
So Hosler just admitted Soviet policy caused the famine. I mean, it's like, I guess, points to Haz for actually recognizing it. But he's still supposed to.
So let me say this once. I thought, I don't know, but I've heard this was like caused like natural disasters.
It was climate change.
I mean, you can tell that Soviet policy in Ukraine was terrible because there are some parts of Ukraine that weren't occupied by the Soviets. Galicia was Polish, and it's the most wealthy part of Ukraine because it was spared the horrors of the Holodomor.
Well, look at Galicia now; it doesn't even exist anymore.
Okay.
Well,
One thing, just one thing, real quick. I kind of forget exactly why we worked with the Soviets against the Nazis.
Because the Nazis declared war on us. You have to work with anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, no one would argue that.
We kind of look at it from
it was okay to work with them during the war. The problem is we gave them half of Berlin after the war, and we should have seen them as a bigger threat after the war, at least.
Hey, Jacob.
How's it going?
Yeah, kind of look at it.
But yes, it was also the collectivization. It was an agricultural revolution that distributed a fundamental means of relation to production. And just like all modern revolutions in the history of mankind, including the European kinds that led to disasters and famines and all sorts of horrible things, that were just stretched out in the span of centuries, and that led to what we call industrial modernity, especially in England. And in the Soviet Union, that was condensed into a time span of maybe half a decade, okay? I'm not denying there was a fucking catastrophe. I'm not denying maybe even millions of people starved and died, and it was a horrible thing. What I do take issue with, though, is the idea that the Soviet government was deliberately targeting Ukrainians for ethnic genocide.
So basically, I don't get just because. So what's Haz's argument? Is it just because they weren't directly doing it that it suddenly makes them okay? Like the policies just led to it, and they didn't do anything about it. But as long as they weren't intentionally doing it, which, by the way, we have proof that they. But anyway,
and that therefore it's comparable to the Holocaust. That's my fucking issue.
I never said it's comparable to the Holocaust. Also, let me just
You're right. It's worse.
Said.
It's worse if you take account all the communist deaths. It's worse. It's like I don't know what the numbers are, but they're outrageous numbers compared to the Holocaust. Not to belittle the Holocaust, but these both.
It's higher than 6 million, dude, or 7 million.
Well, the Holodomor alone was 3 million, I believe. But like when you include every famine in the Soviet Union, every political oppression of opposition, it was like 20 million, I believe.
But here's the bigger question: is why is it that people in the Soviet Union at the time were not allowed to speak out about the terribleness of the Soviet farm program? If they did, they would end up in the gulag. What kind of system do you think that you can live in where you can't even criticize the program that you admittedly say is the cause for all this destruction? What kind of livable situation is that? What kind of hard-handed boot are we supposed to live under this great system that you admit failed, was the cause of the problems? You only say that it wasn't directly targeted at one specific group. But if you mentioned even the fact that you were starving, you'd go to the gulag.
Yeah, here's one argument though, but I heard fascists are worse, killed more because of it's intrinsic to their ideology.
I guess. To me, the flip coin of socialism and fascism are pretty much the same. One's holding a gun to my head with a brown shirt. The other one's holding a gun to my head with a red shirt. The problem is that they're holding a gun to my head. The reasons why they feel like holding a gun to my head is indifferent to me. I just want to live and be free, and I don't care what kind of uniform the asshole trying to tell me how to live my life is wearing. I don't care what kind of shirt he's wearing. They're both from fascistic, communistic, controlling fucking ideologies, and I want nothing to do with them.
Yeah, me neither. I just want to pursue my own happiness.
If the choice was between Stalin and Hitler, I'm taking the bullet.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a choice. That's a choice between arsenic or fucking hanging.
Well, I would take out Stalin because Hitler was going to fall either way because he didn't have the resources to continue his war.
Is your house on fire? Or I hear children screaming for their lives.
I think that's dragging them. Hold on.
No.
Yeah, George Patton wanted to go to war with Russia afterwards.
I'm dragging you. I think we're getting some feedback. Do you think you could do something? I think it's you.
So something that makes sense to the average audience. Essentially, what happened was there's something called the building up of economic. Sorry, I'm drunk as fuck right now, but I'm having a good time.
I know what that's like. I debated Haz drunk too.
It's hard to take him sober.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're a very, very fun person to talk to. It was called Building Up Reproductive Forces.
Yeah, it reminds me of my ex-wife. You just get yelled at all day.
It was this big issue where what was to be Russia was very underdeveloped in regards to industry, right? Most of the people that were workers during this time worked on farms and participated in agriculture. The problem was, in order to develop this country or this new nation, they needed to have factories. They needed to have factory workers. They needed to produce products through industrialization. The problem is allocation of workers. They started allocating workers to work in factories and took workers away from participating in agriculture, which was the first step that resulted in this famine. Certain natural disasters also contributed to this, which resulted in a huge famine.
Okay, well, this isn't.
Now, I'm not saying that what happened with the Holodomor was anywhere close to the fucking Holocaust. My argument is simply that there does seem to be a little bit of evidence behind the fact that Stalin probably had a ideologically driven belief that there was worth in resources that could keep them alive from the Ukrainians. That is what I believe. That is my opinion on the Holodomor.
Wait. Repeat that again. It was worth stealing resources from what?
No, during the Holodomor, when there was this big fucking famine happening, the government was rationing resources. They took food and things like that away from the people, obviously, as you do during a famine, and they redistributed them to try to keep the few resources that there were left and redistribute them to the people, trying to keep as many people.
You mean they were
as
working
possible.
outside of price
However,
structures?
there is evidence that suggests that Stalin had a ideological drive in keeping those resources that he was distributing to everyone else away from the Ukrainians.
Why? What evidence do you have for that?
Joe, I think he just said his evidence.
He may have.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he's like, well, you said something, rather than disprove it, he's just going to say, well, what's your evidence for it? Rather than providing evidence himself, saying, well, this is my side, this is how I'm going to prove it. He just explained it, and he's like, well, where's your evidence?
Well, do you have a source to support that claim?
There are many, but do you want to get into a debate where you're just sitting there quoting sources over and over?
You know what I just say when someone asks for a source? I say, I made it up. Yeah, source?
Say I made
it up.
Sure, let me go over it. I can bring up an article for you if you're not going to call it. You don't call it CIA.
Shit.
Well,
Here we go.
We're gonna go over it, and we're gonna see its primary sources, and we're gonna see whether it holds up.
Are you going to call them CIA propaganda?
Why don't you just not tell him the sources? Just read it. He shouldn't tell him what the source is. He should just read the information and allow this Red to refute it in any way possible.
Yeah, because like knowing the source name, like
whether it holds up, and then we can conclude whether it's propaganda or not on that basis.
Is history.com, like from the History Channel website, is that you like CIA propaganda?
Listen, I'm a guy who I don't actually care where the source comes from. I'm just interested in the primary sources that it's going to refer to. Unless you're going to give me a primary source of some kind, which is extremely rare. All of these sources are secondary sources. I actually don't care if you get it from a random Google
dead grandfather. There. You happy now? I mean, what are we supposed to do? Dig up the graves of every single person? We can't cite any books, any American history networks or sources anywhere. Do we have to go to the actual fucking Siberia and dig up the frozen bones of communist victims before this person fucking realizes it?
Besides,
anything that counters his argument is CIA propaganda.
Of course.
Actually, most secondary sources usually use primary sources as evidence. It's like,
I hope this kid's prepared. I mean, he seems to be looking something up. I mean, I'm not that much of an expert. I just don't know that economically, communism is immoral and vicious and cruel and morally bankrupt.
Hey, Savick, do you read theory?
I mean, just
Do you read theory?
What do you mean, like communist theory?
No, theory, like on whatever you believe in.
Oh, my theory on why I think it's economically unfeasible?
Is it turkey done?
No, talk about your theory, like on stuff that's theory on your ideology.
Oh, well,
I mean, you read theory for
the reasons why it's morally bankrupt and economically unfeasible. One, it's not economically feasible because anything that works without a price structure doesn't allow proper allocation of resources. The way that economics work is that there's an entrepreneur who decides to put in his blood, his sweat, his toil by a judgment that he's going to make by what consumers want to get. Meaning that when he sees a price for something, he's judging that people are going to spend a certain amount of dollars for this product. And so he invests his time and his money to make this product. Without a price structure, there is no way to possibly know what the real demands are. If you tried to feed, let's say, a major city in this country, be it Chicago, New Jersey, New York, or LA, the amount of products that come in and out of the place without any one person in an office, every single person needs 2 pieces of toilet paper and 3 toothpicks is quite fascinating. It's basically, there is a method to it, but it works without control because it works through a price structure. The fact that communism and socialism doesn't have price structures means that it's impossible. It is impossible to properly allocate resources. And the reason why it's immoral is that any system that will tell you that you don't have a right to your own property is an immoral system. You absolutely, as a human being, either by God or by whatever deity you believe in, have a right to your own property. You have a right to your own wealth. You have a right to your own labor. Nobody can come in and say this belongs to someone else. This belongs to everybody. This belongs to your neighbor. That's not true, and it's immoral. And then we have, of course, the history of murder and mayhem by communist regimes, which is what they're discussing right now, because that apparently is the very sore point that even leftists in the 60s realized that that you can't back a system that is responsible for so much death. So that's when they became liberals or they became progressives. Even if they were down and out communists, they would call themselves Marxists because they believed in the ideology. And the claim is that Marxism works, except it was practiced by evil men who decided to commit murder in the name of Marxism. And if only we were given the opportunity, only us intellectual, bright people were given the opportunity to practice Marxism proficiently, it would not end up in communism. But this fucking idiot is so stupid that he's out there saying, I'm a proud communist and Stalinist, and I want to put the sword to anybody who doesn't agree with me. This guy is a moron among morons.
It wasn't real communism.
But this guy, that argument doesn't even work with this guy because he's saying it was real communism and I don't care and the death was perfectly fine and agreeable. This guy is even worse than the guys who say it wasn't real communism.
In where it's getting its
but at least this guy is honest.
He is that. He's an honest moron.
That's very interesting because in the message that you sent me, you said that I was repeating CIA/Nazi lies about the Soviet.
That's my conviction. That's my conviction. That's my belief. But in order to have an argument or a debate about this, I can't just say it's CIA propaganda and Nazi lies. We're actually going to demonstrate why this is a logical conclusion to draw based on the fact that
it's not, by the way.
I love the amount of credence he gives to the Central Intelligence Agency. We still can't convince the people that the Iraq War was a good idea, and it hasn't even been 4 decades. But somehow they pulled the wool over everybody's eyes over a bunch of murders over in Russia. Yeah,
I still find it like people give way too much credit to the CIA. I wish it was as effective as overthrowing dictators as leftists think it is.
I'm a straight Latino woman with power, and my voice matters. And I work for the Central Intelligence Agency, and I rule the world.
It's pretty woke.
Yeah,
it's like most of those CIA coups were coups that were already going to happen. So.
Accusing Stalin of hating Ukrainians and wanting Ukrainians to starve and this deliberate genocide, we're going to demonstrate that this is a hollow, baseless claim. And then we're going to also refer to the origins of the myth and why this myth has become so widespread, in spite of the fact that from a factual, empirical perspective, nothing sustains it.
Sure. All right. So here's the page. This is the first thing that comes up when you look up Stalin opinion on Ukrainians. All right. So you go to the history website. Decrees targeted Ukrainian saboteurs.
Okay, it's working.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I'm fixing my Discord, which froze. 1 sec. Okay, let's hear it.
All righty.
We can't see his face, and that's better.
His Discord is just a bunch of monkey emojis anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, but using you're in a debate with somebody and you're using your Discord people for more information. Like they're just feeding him information.
I don't know. I think he pretty much he has what he wants to say, ready in his pocket.
Hey, Jager. How you doing, buddy?
Meanwhile, Stalin, according to Applebaum, already had arrested tens of thousands of Ukrainian teachers.
Applebaum sounds like a Jewish name.
Books from schools and libraries. She writes that Soviet leaders used the grain shortfall as an excuse for even more intense anti-Ukrainian repression. As Norris notes, the 1932 decree targeted Ukrainian saboteurs, in quotes, ordered local officials to stop using the Ukrainian language in their correspondence and crack down on Ukrainian cultural policies that had been developed in the 1920s. There was a very clear ideological sort of, what's the word for it, antagonism towards the Ukrainians, their language, their culture.
Also, something seems to be wrong with Paul. He's not as chimping out as he usually does.
I think he has something ready to go. That's why.
Oh, maybe Haz is getting soft.
He's getting cordial.
He's becoming human.
Maybe his landlord finally put his foot down. It's like, Haz, if you don't stop yelling on your streams, I'm kicking your ass out.
He could have just stopped could have stopped doing meth for 5 minutes. Maybe that was it.
Intellectuals. They viewed them as being sort of like saboteurs against the communist goals.
Sure. Okay, for context, during what is called the Stalin Revolution, there was a universal animosity toward all of the other Soviet republics, and they were calling it the type of bourgeois nationalism that was cultivated in the 20s. And the Stalin.
Wait a second. What type of defense is that? No, there was a
talking about bourgeois nationalism.
No, he's literally saying that it's okay because they hated all the Soviet republics.
No, you don't understand. You see, during the Stalinist revolution, everybody other than Stalinists hated them. So therefore, the Stalinists had permission to, at carte blanche, just murder everybody.
Yeah, because they're all bourgeois nationalists.
Funny how he will defend that. Yet Pinochet was somehow like the greatest tyrant to ever live.
I need a T-shirt that says bourgeois. What is it? Bourgeois nationalist, bourgeois socialist. I need a T-shirt that says that.
Yeah, hey Grayson. So one thing.
Yeah. Hey, Dragon.
Do you think that? Do you buy into that? Do you buy into that? The CIA kind of helped put Pinochet in power.
Oh, they supported it, but they didn't really. But saying that the coup was orchestrated by the CIA is wrong because there was already the coup was already set in place.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, even if it was orchestrated by them, I don't think it matters at this point because we probably needed to work with Pinochet against the Soviets.
No, here's the thing. Like the military had this planned out for a while. Ever since Allende tried to arrest Congress, so it's like,
yeah.
Which was
I'm just saying that even if this is true, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For the love of God, whose cat is being murdered?
I think it's Dragon again.
I'm wearing headphones. Maybe I can hear it more than most people.
2 and 23, 32 and 33 was generally hostile against all of the nationalities of the Soviet Union and the specific, because you have to understand that in the 20s, this revival of the cultures of the republics of the Soviet that constituted the Soviet Union was within a certain institutional frame, and this institution was being challenged by the Stalin Revolution. So there was an association of these people with the old legacy of the 20s. And so that's the background of that. I haven't found anything from that source that indicates there's a specific unique targeting of Ukrainians divorced from this context I just described to you.
How's that defense though? I mean, technically the Holocaust wasn't uniquely against Jews. It was against Slavs, Poles.
Gypsies.
Yeah, gypsies. Even Jehovah's Witnesses went against. Were purged.
I don't even understand what he's saying. He's saying that there was no systematic targeting of the Ukrainians. And then he goes on to say is that the Ukrainians may have been part of the old order that the Stalinist revolution was against, so therefore they deserve death. So which is it? Either they were targeted because they were part of the old order and they deserve to die, or there was never any attack on the Ukrainians. You can't believe both of those things at the same time. Like he's making an apologia for their murder while at the same time claiming that they were never targeted. He's giving an excuse for their targetization and then says that they were never targeted.
Sure. Let's continue reading then. When Stalin's crop collectors went out into the country, by the way, I want to clarify, when there's a fucking like natural disasters happening, we have a famine going on, I think it's reasonable for the government of the time to take measures to try to make sure that resources are properly allocated to help as many people as possible. But it seems like there was a particular effort taken to try to withhold these resources from the Ukrainians. Like every bit of evidence that I have seen has suggested that there was a deliberate effort to prevent Ukrainians
let's go through the
having what they need to survive.
Let's go through the evidence.
Sure, let's read over this then. When Stalin's crop collectors went out into the countryside, according to 1988 U.S. Congressional Commission report, they used long wooden poles with metal points to poke into the dirt floors of peasants' homes and probe the ground around them, in case they buried stores of grain to avoid detection. That's fine, obviously, if you're trying to collect materials and try to reproduce them, or try to redistribute them. Peasants accused of being food hoarders typically were sent to prison, though sometimes the collectors didn't wait to inflict punishment. 2 boys were caught hiding fish and frogs they'd caught. For example, they were taken to the village Soviet, where they were beaten and then dragged into the field with their hands tied and mouths and noses or gagged, where they were left to suffocate. As the famine worsened, many tried to flee in search of places with more food. Some died by the roadside, while others were thwarted by the secret police and the regime system.
Are you just going to read the whole thing?
Yeah, why not? Do you feel like you want to defend any of this?
I'm not denying there was a famine and a lot of people were starving. And
no,
stuff.
I'm curious if you want to. I'm curious if you want to defend the.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure this out. So Stalin's socialism was real. Socialism. A famine happened, and he's a Stalinist. This seems kind of like this is a reverse MMI. It's like the bad guy is your hero.
I think Haz is secretly a capitalist, and he has now critiqued the Stalinist government and their policies by loudly proclaiming that, in fact, Stalin's government and policies were cause of the famine, and it wasn't just natural disasters. That's what I got out of that. I'm not sure what anybody in his Discord got out of it.
Have you seen the people in his Discord? They're a bunch of morons. We should actually... Maybe when this debate is done, after we're done watching this debate, maybe we should invite people on his Discord just to have fun with them.
If they're anything like him, they'll just scream and yell most of the time. Although maybe his calmness will make them calm. We need tranquilizer darts if they come in here.
The behaviors taken here. I'm curious.
What behaviors specifically?
The behaviors of taking 2 children that had found some like fish and frogs, pulling them out into the street and then suffocating to death in the.
Well, it's probably the case, and I can't confirm or deny that specific thing. I'm in no position to deny it because I'm not familiar with it. But right off the bat, I can assume that there were abuses that were conducted by local officials, and even Stalin was aware that those abuses happened and were happening.
How does he think this helps them?
And it's simply a disconnect between the central party and the actual people on the ground who are enforcing. It's a tragic, horrible type of thing, and it happened in all the communist states. There were local abuses.
So this guy is basically making the argument that anti-communists make about the Soviet Union all the time.
It's the same argument that Noam Chomsky used in his defense of Cambodian atrocities, where he said, much like in World War II, where American soldiers were just so hyped and pissed at the Germans that they committed atrocities, there were some elements of the Cambodian military clique that were doing some horrible things occasionally. He refused to acknowledge that it was systematic, that it was put forth by the government. The left can run around and scream about systematic racism because somebody in Georgia said you're allowed to vote on Saturday. But when it comes to actual systematic murder and genocide, somehow this guy has to turn the other cheek. He's basically saying that there were possibly some military commando units who were just unable to be controlled. And it's basically the Noam Chomsky defense of the Cambodian Khmer Rouge. It's absurd. They all follow the same line. Maybe there were some units who may have had a disconnect with command in Moscow. Yeah, that's what happened. It wasn't systematic. You're right.
How does a quarter of the population die because some commandos decided to be sure, that happened during World War II, where U.S. soldiers would execute German Nazi prison guards because they saw the atrocities they committed. It's not the same thing as killing 2 million people because they had glasses.
Yeah, or 2 million people because somebody went out and fished for a frog. So you took 2 young boys and suffocated them in the middle of the street in front of the town. It's a little different than an American soldier who walks into a death camp, gets enraged, and shoots a Nazi officer. It's a little different.
Also,
I want to hear. I wonder if Haz gets a debate about the Vietnam War with this.
that happen. But to say that this represents some direct intentional will on behalf of Stalin or the Central Party is ridiculous. It is, listen, even Mao himself in China, for example, acknowledged the fact that local cadres and stuff, they did engage in abuses and stuff against the people. But how could Mao, for example, embolden and strengthen the people and fight against those officials while at the same time upholding the communist order?
Did you order the code red? Did you order the code red? Sir, if they follow orders and the people don't follow orders, then people die. So if they didn't do it, how did it happen?
Here's the real thing. I mean, it's like, how many how many leaders were actually able
that's
to,
what you said.
Apparently, there was mass dissension in the ranks as millions of people died, as all these individual units just did not follow orders anymore. Who ordered the code red?
You're goddamn right I did.
You're goddamn right I did is the answer.
I mean, like, here's the thing. It's like, when you look at, like, the history of, like, an empire like the Ottoman Empire, well, like, Suleiman the Magnificent, when he purged a lot of ineffective bureaucrats. Why didn't Mao just do that?
It seems more reasonable.
Yeah, it's like, just purge your ineffective bureaucrats. That happens a lot of dictators do that.
I don't know this. Maybe you guys know. I know that the Nazis kept records of everything because they thought they were going to win the war, and they didn't care if they actually had records of them murdering entire peoples. But I'm guessing that the Soviets were so inept, or they just didn't think about the future that much. Did they not keep as clear records saying, like, yes, we ordered the death against the Ukrainians, here it is in paper? I guess they just weren't the Nazis in that way, where everything had to be written down and every bullet had to be accounted for. It also goes to explain why they all ended up starving, no matter what end of the Soviet bargain you ended up on, is because nobody had any control of anything.
So here's the thing. We can say this. Because of socialism, Haiti is no longer the poorest nation in South America.
What is?
Venezuela.
Oh, cheers. Good job, Venezuela. They're competing with who could be the dumbest.
Yeah. How do you... It's like...
it's called democratic socialism.
Like, here's the... Like, this is off topic, but it's like, Venezuela is now the poorest country in South America, worse than Haiti. And they still...
I don't know about that. I don't very much know about that, but...
No, in 2020, they released, like, figures for GDP per capita, and they're now below Haiti, which makes them the poorest country in South America. And people still make the sanctions argument. It's like, sanctions don't work that efficiently.
I've never understood the term democratic socialism. Like, just because you throw the word democratic in front of something doesn't make it any... If I say democratic genocide, it doesn't make... If I say democratic fascism, it doesn't make it any better. Throwing the word Democrat in front of a terrible word that's full of just so much blood and death doesn't make it any better. It's amazing that in 2021, we're pretending that the Berlin Wall never came down and that we're still fighting the arguments over communism. The fact that this person still exists, the fact that this person is in law school is beyond... And you know, it's 2021. You have the ability to find information at your fingertips. You don't even really have to go to college to learn history. The fact that this person can exist, and it's after 89, it's after the fall of the Berlin Wall, is astounding. It's astounding.
Yeah, I mean, just recently, some like moron in the Hungarian parliament switched to becoming a Kadarist, and Kadarism was basically goulash communism in Hungary. That was a dark day. That's like the first time a communist came to parliament. Like, after...
It's a strange world we live in, my friends.
Like, after 30 years, a communist is now back in the Hungarian parliament. They should never let communists in parliament.
Wasn't it Hungary that literally murdered their leader in public? They just took over the palace and they killed the guy. I forgot his name. Am I thinking of the right country? Was it Hungary?
No, I think that's Romania.
Oh, Romania. You're right. I'm sorry.
Romania. No, and see, in Hungary, that's an interesting thing. TLDR, basically, Miklos Horthy, he was in charge and the Nazis overthrew him. Then they had this very fascist government. Then the Soviets came in, and at first there were democratic elections. The Soviets tried to rig the elections to prove that the Hungarians wanted communism, but even rigged, they couldn't get into power, so they had to do a coup. And then they replaced, and then that's how we get like 45 years of communism.
Jesus.
It's still a meme that even rigged, they couldn't get the communists in power.
The communist state from its enemies. Well, that's a dialectic that actually developed and played out through the course of the history of the Soviet Union. And we're not talking about China, but also China as well. You shared part of our video where we kind of touch up and talk about that. It was specifically about China, but a similar dialectic was happening in the Soviet Union. And Stalin actually did represent the peasants.
That's probably the dumbest thing he could have said.
He does love the word dialectic. He uses that a lot.
Does this guy know what Stalin did to the Green Army?
Dialectical materialism.
It's a dialectical systems of oppression of systems.
But seriously, look up like the Green Army. They were peasants who were against the land confiscations, and they were like sentenced to death or gulag. Like that, Stalin hated the peasantry. It's like,
yeah, you probably should look up, Grayson. You ever heard about history of like Mao?
Yeah, I
where
know.
They had the Red Guard like tear people down, like to tear people down's wealth, like to make sure like bourgeois.
And like they literally had a saying where they asked children what their parents thought about the Communist Party. Actually, Mao literally had a thing where he pretended that he would allow criticism of his government, and then when the people offered criticism, yeah, and this is Mao Zedong. Like he said, "Okay, you write down what criticism you have of my government, and we'll take it into account." It took one. The only thing they took into account is who wrote down the criticism, and they were shot to death.
Sign your name right here, sir.
They act like
big letters, capital letters, date right here. Thank you, sir. All right, that's 32 cents for the bullet. I appreciate it.
You see, luckily for the Chinese peasantry, Mao was so incompetent, most of them couldn't read. So, they are going to write down their criticism.
Look, I mean, Grayson, there's people in the Hawk Gang that are left wing, but I mean, these people are super, super gone to the freaking wall.
Yeah. Did not mean to do that.
I'm probably the most right wing in the group.
Yeah, there's still quite a few right wing of them.
As it would come to show during the Great Purges and later after World War II, against these type of low officials and bureaucrats who represented a more urbanized city and intellectualistic Marxists and socialists who had profound disdain for the majority of the people. So I'm not denying, of course, when you're engaging in something like collectivization, the people who are carrying out this collectivization probably do have some kind of animosity toward the peasant majority as a whole. But then the tables were turned against them, for example, during the Great Purges, and the peasants were empowered. It's a horrible tragedy, but this is the tragedy of modernity in general. You're naming all these crimes and these horrible things happening on the ground during an agricultural revolution, which
don't have an agricultural revolution then. Like, what advantages did come of it? Like, the only reason.
This is the revolution of modernity. You don't understand that as soon as electricity was invented, we have to kill everybody. It just comes with modernity.
Yeah.
The fact that I have an iPhone means that 7 Chinese children died.
It's called.
Honestly,
it's called reject traditionalism, embrace modernity.
Yes, thank you. Build me a skyscraper and fuck your hut.
Basically, what I think, the Soviet Union became a superpower for artificial reasons, in my opinion.
Well, even to his point, like, if he says, well, there has to be some violence for revolution, well, that was the Red Terror. What happened under Stalin is something totally different. The system was already implemented, and they just kept cracking down, and it wasn't just Ukrainians. It was people in the Caucasus. It was people in Central Asia. It was basically anybody who wasn't Russian living in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Stalingrad, some of the bigger cities.
I finished Gulag Archipelago this year. If you hung your hat on a statue of Stalin, you can get 25 years. 25 years. This is the utopia, and this is under Stalin. This is not during the war. This is not during upheaval. They were already in power. You're absolutely right that, like, what is this continued endless revolution? Because if your excuse for all these deaths is modernity and the cost of doing business, and you got to break a few eggs, but Stalin comes into power, and then as the paranoid power freak that he is, just like every cheap dictator from Hussein on down, they just start killing everybody who's in opposition. This has nothing to do with revolution.
This
is
happened,
just naked power.
That's what happened in Iran. The left supported them.
Yeah.
And then later on, they took them. They started to kill them all.
Well, yeah, the Islamic jihadists basically took the fact that the Shah was a control freak when it came to political opposition, and they used that to galvanize all sorts of different spectrums of Iranian society to say, we don't want that. But they were very short-sighted in thinking that they were going to be free once these Islamic clerics were now in power.
There was a purge.
Which was necessary for industrialization. But this is the story for literally all modern industrial powers that did so independently. England, the Dutch, you know about the whole fucking ugly story.
No,
right?
I would argue.
Oh, there were definitely some ugly stories, but not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I remember when the Irish potato famine happened. They then decided to kill everybody who wore glasses. That's what happened.
Like, yeah, there was the famine in Ireland, but that
seriously,
was also...
people started killing each other over glasses.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have to kill all the intellectuals. Anybody who can read is a threat. So the Irish government then went out and killed people. That's just what happens in history. Hey, according to him, when you have modernity and you have starvation, you just have to kill everybody.
Like, I don't remember any Dutch famine. I don't remember any American famine. Like, I know there were the Dust Bowl doesn't happen until the 30s.
Does anybody remember the massive genocide that happened after the Dust Bowl? Because I don't.
Yeah, like
so, but the British Empire was pretty bad because there was a famine in India.
Yeah. Well,
like the British was probably one of the worst empires, probably next to Spain.
Well, to be fair, I think the Bengal famine in the Bengal famine in 42, that was also partially because of World War II, and they couldn't exactly do much.
Hey, Jager.
Yes, sir.
So, didn't the British Empire had occupy parts of Palestine during the the British Mandate?
So, Syria is a British colony. Lebanon's a French colony. I'm not sure about Palestine.
Palestine was British, I believe. Anyway, we can.
You that in every sense that these countries did not handle industrialization nearly even close to as badly as the USSR did.
Oh, okay.
There are plenty of ways you can handle industrialization without over allocating all of your resources and farming to agriculture to fucking industrialization jobs, causing a fucking famine to happen. Don't get me wrong. There were natural disasters that happened that contributed to it. So you can handle this way fucking better.
Now this is what we come for: the blood sports.
You just made a big mistake. You just assume that the countries I described, the modern countries of, let's say, from the 16th century onwards, were socialist countries who were intentionally modernizing their productive forces and industrializing their countries. That's not how industrialization happened in any of the countries. I'm saying, though, that the background of this, what we call modernity and industrial modernity, was horrific, horrible shit that was definitely comparable to these to these horrible things that happened during the communist collectivizations of China and the Soviet Union.
Yeah, I don't think the slums of New York City were comparable to beating people to death because they stored food.
Or taking food from farmers and starving the farmers.
Yeah.
They were condensing the modern apocalypse within a span of maybe half a decade, whereas centuries of butchery and horror and divorcing of peasants from their original means of production, both within Europe and outside of Europe. You're just all of these things made industrial modernity possible. And yet, when the Soviet Union and China attempted to industrialize independently of the West, they were confronting similar contradictions and similar issues that they were. They were confronting this issue of we need to industrialize to defend ourselves, but this requires a separate.
So basically, the reason why the Chinese had to industrialize by themselves was because they were too nationalist as fuck to rely on anyone. Like,
separation of the people from their means of production of some kind, which is a very ugly and violent process, and yes, leads to wide-scale famine in both cases, because when you're separating the traditional way in which people cultivate food and feed themselves, and you're emptying that into a type of rationalistic planning, there's going to be something lost in translation, if you get what I'm saying. In that translation, in that process.
Yes, but it's called the translation of reality. You can't properly allocate resources and just hand them out to people. There's no way that one person in Moscow is going to figure. You know how big Russia was? How are you going to fucking figure out how to feed everybody? It's fucking ridiculous. Of course there's problems. It's problems bigger than anywhere else, and you starve the nation. My grandmother went over to Russia in like the early 80s. She came back with warm Coca-Cola and toilet paper. That's all the fucking people had over there. This was after the revolution. This was after modernity. Yeah.
I've heard, again, because the reason why a lot of people during the 1917 revolution, I mean, because the Tsar was incompetent, I mean, there was a lot of outside support.
From where?
Well, it was a civil war. So, yeah, there was a lot of people that died during the Russian Civil War.
Yeah, I was talking about the Russian Revolution. There was a lot of rich people that supported getting rid of the Tsar because it was incompetent. Not to mention the Jewish pogroms.
A very sensitive thing you're dealing with. You're dealing with how people feed themselves. So this revolution in the agricultural relations and the forces of production, tragically, yes, led to famine. But to say that this is some kind of crime on their part is the epitome of hypocrisy.
So what famine happened in Japan when they industrialized?
Yeah. What massive starvation took place in Japan is a great question.
I mean, they also did it alone, come to think of it.
Do you mind if I save you really quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So it seems like what you're doing right now is, whether you realize it or not, is you're defending capitalism. The way that capitalism
This kid is great.
It basically does make the argument for capitalism.
Listen, social planning doesn't work. Anytime you have social planning, people are gonna die. Oh, so you mean we should have capitalism?
Didn't participate in the the communist statist bullshit. It's actually providing a defense, whether you realize it or not, towards these countries, because they didn't have these same issues nearly to the even close to the degree. They didn't have the not even close to the degree that the USSR did. So what you're doing is you're unfortunately, it's very unfortunate, overwhelming historical
Linda, listen, Linda. Here's the argumentation of a 3-year-old.
Like, I don't know if you've seen any other of the debates with Haz. He pretty much acts like a 3-year-old.
I've seen some back when we first got introduced to him, and I assume he's actually pretty calm,
Hey
considering
guys,
his usual self.
hey Grayson, did you hear anything from Xanderthal you disagreed with?
I haven't paid attention too much to Xanderthal. Why? I haven't really heard anything too negative.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on in the background? Jesus Christ!
Yeah, Dragon, what's going on?
He's in the middle of a very messy divorce. The children are involved. He's taking half the piano, half the dog. Jesus.
For you, dude. I'm going to do something for you, dude. I'm going to help you. I'm going to save you. Let me save you from the argument that you're making right now, okay?
No,
I'm going
I'm
to
not.
save you right
I'm
now.
gonna continue to
I'm
insist
just
on this
trying to
fucking
save
argument.
you, okay? Because you're making yourself sound really stupid, and I want to help you.
Dude,
I feel bad for you, and I
sound
want to
fucking
help you, dude.
He's great.
The only thing is, I wouldn't have helped him. I would have just called him stupid and not even like, no, you dug your hole. You gotta get out of it now.
I think he's doing that, but he's being semi-facetious when he's going, listen, what you're doing is defending capitalism. Where you're saying that all these controls don't work, what you're saying is that it doesn't work. That's what you're saying.
All right, someone joined.
Is it someone with a cat? Because I need to have 2 cats screaming in both my ears.
Anyway, yeah. Dragon, I'm gonna have to put my foot down. Later, if we get more feedback, I'm gonna have to kick you.
Just tell him to mute his mic.
Mute his mic.
I'm trying to help you right now. I'm really trying to help you right now.
You sound like a fucking idiot.
You're making yourself look so fucking bad. You're making yourself look so bad for defensive communism or socialism. Come on, let me help you, dude. I'm just trying to help you.
No, look, here's the thing. What Xanderthal should have done is just let him dig his hole. Let him dig deeper.
I just want to help you, dude. I'm trying to save you. I'm reaching out. You're hanging on the edge of the.
Oh no.
I've had my mic on mute because I've been laughing throughout this whole thing. It's fantastic. Oh, that's good.
Cliff, I'm trying to reach out to help you, okay?
Are you done? Are you done? You know I'm gonna demolish you. You know I'm gonna fucking demolish you.
Right, what is it with Haz who thinks that political arguments is like the WWE? He reminds me of these fighters in actual boxing matches who, after they lost, they pick up their hands. Somehow they're going to try to convince the judges that, hey, look, my hands are raised. I'm being really aggressive. I'm still walking around. I've won this. Isn't it up to the audience to decide who won? Why do you always have to tell people you're going to demolish them? You're like a guy in a fight who talks a lot of shit, but rarely gets to the point. If by your point, by demolishing, you mean yelling a lot, I can do that too. But usually when I yell, I precede it with a point. There seems to be a lot more yelling than points. This fucking WWE style of just shouting, I'm going to demolish you. And then when he's done making his point, he's going to say, see, I destroyed you. What the fuck is the point of that?
His cult of personality probably does think he won if we look at the comments. I mean...
What's he going to do? How's he going to demolish him? Is he going to call him a faggot and that his mother sucks black dick? His usual fucking canards? How is he going to just demolish him? What's he going to do? Tell him to go fuck himself and that he's a tiny man, he doesn't get any pussy? The usual fucking bullshit that he does when he demolishes people? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, just look at these comments, by the way. This is his cult of personality.
I can't read these on my phone.
Oh. Okay, well, basically, it's just Xanderthal is nowhere near smart enough. It's just a spectra is haunting BreadTube. It's a spectra of infrared.
They always have to run their flag, run their little catchphrases, run their own name. Like hip-hopsters in the old days, you would have to say, yo, this is MC so-and-so. Yo, the infrared is inevitable. It's gonna take over the world. Yeah, sure it is.
Well, I mean, it's gonna make us laugh. I guess that might.
So far, this kid has made me laugh. I've had to mute my mic because I've been laughing so hard.
Try to silence me. No, your fucking point is wrong if you ignore that this was stretched out over a period of centuries. And yes, horrific catastrophes, famines, and all that shit. Leading to discount what fucking happened in Europe. I've heard of something called colonialism. You fuck, and you thought that was a gotcha point? Demolished!
I know it. As soon as he was done saying, he had to announce and let everybody know. By the way, I have just won. I've demolished you.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. There's too much stuff going on in the background.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm gonna propose unless you're going to, I don't mean to be mean, but maybe if you're not talking, maybe you should just mute your mic, and then if you're talking, you can unmute. Sounds like it might work better.
Demolished! Done! Destroyed with facts and logic! Destroyed with facts and logic!
Like, now you're just stealing Ben Shapiro.
Facts don't care about your feelings. Demolished. Facts don't care about your feelings. I'm waiting for him to start screaming that.
Yeah, it's the thing. Ben Shapiro doesn't do that to you. He won't say you are destroyed. It's like mostly the audience who says it was destroyed. Like,
right. What is the need to dance on the grave of the point? Why can't you just make your point? You spend 85% of your time either saying you're going to demolish somebody, and then the other part of your time saying you did demolish somebody. What are you saying? Does anybody even know what his point was that was demolished? He's just saying that facts and during famines, bad things happen. But he refuses to address the point that the fact that these famines happened, he self-admittedly said that it was because of social Soviet planning that this happened. And this other kid is making the fine point by saying, listen, if you just had capitalism, you wouldn't have handled it so terribly. And then, of course, you just was yelling and screaming.
Fucking idiot.
Can you please...
Huh? Was that the stream?
Ranting was actually very funny.
No! Go live again for your viewers. You just went offline because you know I'm gonna beat you. Go back on live so your viewers can see me beat you.
I've done such a wonderful job of yelling at you by admitting to your point that Soviet planning can't be handled in any other ways, that it only leads to destruction, that I have won and I have demolished you. How exactly, I'm not really sure, but if I just say it often enough and angry enough and loud enough, then I have won the argument. Oh, look at all the little comments. Infrared forever. Monkey power. Savages. You fucking idiot. You're a fucking dope.
Guerrilla army.
Guerrilla Uhuru. Guerrilla army.
I'm still live right now. Wait, is my stream down?
Yes, it's down on Twitch.
His face is gone.
Is it on Twitch? It's still up on YouTube, I think. I don't know. My Twitch, my fucking stream dies all the time. All right, hold on. Keep ranting, please. I'm really enjoying this.
You know you lost the debate when the guy's basically like, "Yeah, I keep ranting. I'll respond later."
I'll wait till you calm down. He's like a chick.
Yeah.
I'll wait till you calm down until we continue this conversation.
You said I'm making the case for capitalist countries, which, by the way, your breadtube school of dumbass shit didn't teach you the fact that it's
Why does he talk like such a foreigner? He talks like fucking Borat. Your dumbass school of bullshit breadtube shit. Your fucking shit of garbage. He's a fucking angry Borat with just big eyebrows and won't shave his face.
He also hates the English language. He's like, he hates the Anglo box.
You cock mother! I fuck you in ass donkey. Your mother is goat. What the fuck? Where are you from? Why you act like you just came off the boat? What up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of breadtube neither. I mean, don't get me wrong, but this guy, I mean, like this.
He's useless.
I mean, this guy is like mask off.
With zero self-awareness.
But let's be honest, the reason why most of us are here is because we assumed that he would freak out at some point, and it just makes us giggle.
Yeah. Like, I don't want, like, if the debater is not going to
It's not like we're agreeing with Xanderthal, but we're just kind of like ducking on Haz.
Yeah, but it's funny when they dunk on Haz. Makes it better.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not saying I agree with the other guy. We're just there for Haz.
This was a process of transformation, which is only vaguely the rise of capitalism through feudalism.
Why did you handle it so
you're
bad? Why the fuck did every other country who had to go through this, like you said, why did everybody else handle it better? You stupid fuck.
Yeah.
Of capitalism is itself very socialistic. The idea of having some kind of system which competes with another system, that's already presupposing some type of political relationship to the economy that you could say is socialistic. You're treating the economy as something that serves political and social ends and the general welfare and the well-being of the people. That's a socialistic type of logic.
No, you dummy. You're not doing it with control. You're having an economy that runs on its own. That's why the Soviet Union fell. Because in America, we feed ourselves and the military was run by the government. In the Soviet Union, they had to build a military and feed their people. Reagan knew that, and he knew that if he amped up the security apparatus, they wouldn't be able to afford to both feed their people and have an expensive military. So just because you have an economy doesn't automatically make it socialistic because it betters the ends of people. That's just a sociological way of saying that it's in betterment for the people. It doesn't magically just make it socialism. It doesn't magically make it some kind of control because its relationship to the people we claim is a good outcome. Just because we acknowledge that the people as a whole can exist in some frame as a whole. Dummy.
Yeah, it goes back to, like, you see Richard Wolff or you see other Marxists.
Oh.
They basically just say everything that's good about capitalism is actually socialism, and everything that's bad about capitalism is capitalism.
Ugh.
Sorry for bringing up
I've
that
heard
name,
Richard Wolff
he's
says
a
that
moron.
they don't. He's saying like, "Hey, Jager."
Go ahead,
Jager. He says like,
Yes.
you know, Richard Wolff, like he's saying like the owners, they don't give a shit about you. It's like they just care about their profits, and you be the middleman getting screwed without even know whether you know it or not.
Yeah, well, they don't have to give a fuck about you. They just have to give a paycheck. I don't give a fuck about my boss as long as he pays me. Fuck him.
Yeah, and like I said, it's one of those things where, like, they'll like manipulate things to make everything like it's good about capitalism. Say, well, actually, this is socialism, and all the bad or negative stuff. Oh, that's just capitalism gone array.
Oh yeah,
it's very convenient.
You kind of missed a good part where basically Hall makes the case for capitalism accidentally, but just do an hour left of the stream. It's going to get better.
Oh man, and like a lot of people who inadvertently do that use China as an example. It's like, bruh, you know how China became what it is now. It wasn't by becoming more socialist. It was by becoming less so.
Anyway.
That's another reforms of Deng Xiaoping.
But second, it is really stupid to say that I'm making the case for the Western European modernity because of this same horrors were happening.
Well, I don't get the Western European modernity because Eastern Europe was doing the same thing. It just, this was before Eastern Europe was given the boot of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, no, countries like Hungary and the Czech Republic and Poland probably would have developed similarly to the West had they never been occupied by the USSR.
No,
it's like immediately after the Soviet Union collapsed, the first thing they do is they move to market economies. They even joined like the Kuwait War. It's like,
now somebody brushed me up on history when England was having, when it was moving into a more modern era, when America was inventing the train and the automobile, where are the mass graves that America had to go through as it was becoming modern? Like, this claim that modernity must come with a massive amount of death is absurd to me. Like,
there was a potato famine. That was also because it was partially also due to the fact that the British and the Irish had terrible relations, and so the British refused to do anything about it.
But the Irish were able to get up and leave and come here. You couldn't get up and leave the Soviet Union.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say that's a plus.
Even if we discount the things in Europe, it was still happening with colonialism, which was a fucking disaster and catastrophe.
Back up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think my fucking stream died. It's back up. Sorry, I was talking to my girlfriend. No, I want to help you out, okay? I want to save you, okay? You don't need to argue in favor of these like fucking authoritarian communist regimes, okay? You don't need to do that.
Okay,
But he does. That's the thing. That's what tankies do. They fall for this. They fall for the Stalinist propaganda.
Oh yeah.
It's so absurd.
I think Xanderthal is like a socialist. It doesn't follow all the rules, to be honest.
Well, maybe
no, he recently declared himself a liberal, I think.
Yeah, I think he's more of, I guess you would say he's more of a social democrat. Like,
he's basically just not a tanky, and he's astonished that anybody in 2021 can still be defending these murderous regimes when, as I said before, even in the 60s, the left. The reason why Noam Chomsky had credibility is because he wasn't part of the group at the time who was apologizing for Soviet atrocities. He was still a member of the left until, I guess, Cambodia and as he went on his career. But at the time when he was coming up, he hadn't been part of the left that had been apologizing for the terribleness of all these communist regimes. And even leftists, as much as they are Marxists, refuse to call themselves Stalinists and communists because they realize that what that name means. But it's not good enough for this supposed college law future graduate who can't understand that all this mayhem is fucking terrible.
So I'm trying to think, is there any country that actually has any like real major Stalinist movements?
I don't know if you would call them Stalinist, but they are.
Other than like North Korea, where they hold power.
Right, but is that Stalinist or is that just another example of just controlled?
Oh, hey, Grayson, I got a question for you. I got a thing for you, buddy.
What's the thing?
So there's a thing called there was a thing called Congress for Cultural Freedom where they would recruit Marxists that were anti-Soviet. They kind of use them against each other. So I mean, like, they believed in Marx, but but they thought the Soviet Union was bad. It wasn't real communism.
Oh yeah, like those exist all the time. Because the only ideology that's more fringe and cringe than Stalinism would be Poseidism, if you ever heard of that.
That's a meme.
But no,
anarcho-fascism.
I mean, even the head of the Frankfurt School who invented political correctness, he had a falling out with communism because reality, first of all, the notion that there was going to be a worldwide uprising against the owners, quote unquote, never happened during the Great Wars in Europe. And also because he saw the murder and death that was occurring under these regimes. Everybody with even a scintilla of a brain who didn't act like a monkey and just scream, "Shut the fuck up and I'm going to demolish you and fuck your mother," like a shitty, stupid Borat, realizes this. But not this guy. This guy somehow managed to just bite in all the red propaganda that he could possibly muster.
Yeah, 30 fucking years after it was relevant at all.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. After the Berlin Wall fell, we're still having this argument. It's unbelievable.
First of all, let's walk that back. I want to walk that.
Was someone saying something?
No.
I thought that was a.
You don't need to go so far to argue against historical consensus. To argue against these.
No. Let's walk a few things back. That's a few things. You mentioning a few things.
Of the main concepts and ideas behind communism.
And you don't know anything about those is my problem. Let's walk it back, though. Let's walk it back. You said the authoritarian communist states. Listen to me, Xander Hall. You and BreadTube wouldn't know shit, wouldn't even be mentioning Marx. You wouldn't be mentioning...
Oh. I think I know what his argument's going to be, is that if it wasn't for authoritarian communism, there would be no Marxism. But that's unbased. I'd rather have that. It's like,
yeah, no, he's probably going to cite Engels or something and claim that every state is authoritarian to a certain degree, which is a load of shit.
Well, I mean, every state does have a.
They do have authority, but like, there's a very clean difference between a state where the people elect the leaders and where they don't, and where they have the freedom to criticize them. And just like reducing that all down to some vague concept of authority is a load of shit.
Like, legitimate use of state authority is not the same thing as dictatorship and authoritarianism.
As arbitrary use of state authority. That's what made all these dictatorships so awful.
Is he going to say that authoritarian communism built Russia from this poor farmer country into the massive superpower it is today? Is that the argument?
Well, because if he does make that argument, it's full of shit. Because modern studies have confirmed that you really wouldn't have needed Stalin's mass industrialization to achieve roughly the same results.
They were starting. They started industrialization actually under the Tsarist Russia.
Yeah, in the late
They
Tsarist
did
period,
become a
people forget
superpower
about
in
that.
the end after World War II.
Well, we practically gave it to them.
Yeah.
Socialism. You wouldn't be mentioning communism. All of these would be meaningless fucking words if it were not for the Eastern people, the authoritarian Asiatic despots you're kind of hinting at. They're the ones who carried it on their fucking shoulders and made it fucking relevant. The only reason Americans...
That's a bad thing, though.
And I love how he's trying to desperately to bring race into this in some way, shape, or form.
Listen to me. If it weren't for Hitler, we would not have the Turner Diaries. Listen to what you're saying. How dare you denounce Hitler?
Go around calling themselves communists is because of the power created by countries like the Soviet Union and China. You're basically trying to steal that clout for them and impress people with that power that you didn't earn. It was their power, not yours. There was no libertarian communist power. There was no libertarian.
Well, there was technically one libertarian communist state like Rojava in Syria. That's not the only one, but. Also, I don't think libertarian communists are really... They're not that interested in becoming superpowers from what I heard of them.
Yeah, it's mostly
libertarian
like
socialists
local
usually call like
initiatives.
authoritarianism.
I'm just imagining Dave Smith and Tom Woods screaming at this term libertarian socialism. I'm just imagining their eyes popping out of their sockets.
I'm actually debating an anarcho-communist tomorrow, so... That'd be...
On foreign policy or on economics?
I debated him on foreign policy where I actually got him to basically agree with funding the Mujahideen in Rojava.
Finally.
And we're debating economics tomorrow.
Well, I wish you luck on that.
Libertarian communist, anything. It's all fucking meaningless trying to use the Soviet Union's clout and use its reputation, of which Americans are familiar with, and you're trying to say, oh, I'm a communist, but actually you don't know what communism really means to me.
Oh, well, Eastern Europeans are very familiar with the Soviet reputation.
And it ain't exactly a positive one, just to put it diplomatically.
So is anybody who's Polish who's above the age of 65.
Yeah.
They're like the most extreme example of all.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Cubans, the
Cuban Americans.
Yeah, travel to Miami, visit some of them.
Yeah. And the Cubans were so mad that they actually went back across the water and put bombs into Castro's Cuba. That's how mad they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like Kennedy totally cut this on Cuba, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
he chickened out at the last moment.
Yeah, like an invasion of Cuba, this might be a hot take, it would have been totally justified given what the Soviets did to Budapest. So,
you know, it would have been a lot better if we would have succeeded. That's all.
Yeah.
The revolution is only worth fighting if you succeed.
Yeah, like if it wasn't for Castro, Cuba probably would be like the Japan of the Caribbean.
Castro banned the use of golf courses because he sucked at golf. He took a beautiful, tropical place, which was just a wonder. Even the mob tried to get their money down there because it was just a great place to be. And he turned it into a cigar factory. The only thing that came out of Cuba was cigars. That was it.
And like at a certain point, Cuba was
they have their good cigars, man.
That's it. But that's all they have.
But no, they have good cigars and terrible doctors.
Great.
And they have good whatchamacallit, casinos.
But
they still exist?
I think they do in some degree, but funny story about Cuban doctors. Everyone talks about how they send doctors to some countries. Apparently,
Don't they have don't they have the cancer vaccine?
I mean, it's like cancer vaccine. But I just want to address this point. Then I'll get to that point. But the thing with like the Cuban doctors to other countries, apparently they were operating on one patient in like an African country, and like this villager who had no prior medical experience was actually able to heal more people than they were.
This guy cured more people by dancing around with them with bones and a lit fire than this doctor with a degree from Cuba.
Yeah, and that's for like
Oh my god.
and that's for like the cancer vaccine.
So you're saying the Cuban healthcare system doesn't work?
No,
That's
I'm
for
saying that the human healthcare system
Didn't
needs
save
to
any
adopt
lives.
fire and bones and people to dance around flames. Is
Like-
what I'm saying.
And that's for like the cancer vaccine. It's like it's only for a specific type of cancer, and it
At least
hasn't
it's
been
free.
hasn't been properly tested either. And the other thing with that is that, again, some poor nations can make achievements. It's like Brazil invented like a type of X-ray. South Africa invented the CAT scan. So it's not necessarily impossible for a poor nation to make a achievement.
It's like one of those fake diseases that Steven Crowder has to get anytime he gets in trouble, and so he has to go off the air. Is it one of those things? I have fibromyalgia. I'll be off the air because I made a racial comment 24 hours ago. Is it one of those?
No, it's a real disease. And
Okay. I was just checking.
But the vaccine part, like this is from the Serbians, and they said that the vaccine, yeah, it did some things, but it's pretty weak and not that efficient. And this is the Serbians who we are talking about. They don't have much high standards, and even they weren't satisfied.
Communist society. Why don't you own up to the meaning of this capital C word communist and just fucking say you appreciate
What do you think of communism?
Huh? Oh, that was him. I keep every time Vanderhoff talks, I think he's in here. I think that's someone here.
What do you think communism is?
Communism for Marx was the real movement that sublates the present state of things. A lot of people think it's abolished. It's not. It's a mistranslation. It sublates. Marx didn't talk about abolishing capitalism, which is a silly and stupid thing to say. But anyway, if communism is something real and objective and material, then we have to refer to communism based on the people who actually gave meaning to the fucking word.
So abolish capitalism is what the main goals were. So
who the fuck is jerking off in the background? Oh my god.
Dragon, do you mind muting?
Yes.
For when you don't speak. I know, it's just the background noise.
So I mean, abolish capitalism. Communism is like an end goal. Like it's something like to where the world without a state.
It's weird because capitalism really, I know they don't like this definition. It's just the freedom to openly exchange products and services. That's all it is. It's basically like oxygen. Being anti-capitalism is being anti-oxygen. You're anti the ability of people to just buy and trade things. You're coming up with a weird system where that doesn't exist, and you're going to starve and die, as history has shown you have.
Yeah, it's capitalism. A lot of what people don't get is that it's not a political system. It can coexist with really any system of politics, a democracy, a dictatorship like Pinochet, a communist party like in China. It's like it doesn't really lend itself towards any. It's just sort of an objective state of things.
Like, here's the thing. Capitalism does make a nation better, but I kind of like what Friedman said, where it's not the only factor either. Like, it gets you a long way, but you have to do other things too.
Well, obviously you need to have political freedom in order for capitalism to truly exist. And the tendency is that the freer you are, the more you're going to be able to be economically free. And this will lead you to want to be more politically free. And it's this cohesive good circle of greatness that these people just want to go back into some dark hole where we're all working in the rice fields, where they think it's just better because it's quote unquote fairer.
Yeah, equality in poverty versus inequality in freedom.
Correcto.
Like here's the thing, like, and again with inequality, is like, would you rather have people richer than you, but you're still well off, or have everyone be under poverty lines?
Well, that's the great thing about American socialists is that they start off with the billionaire tax, then it's the millionaire tax, and then it's Bernie Sanders admitting that, well, yes, if you're in the middle class making 65 grand a year, I'm going to have to tax you, but you're not going to have to pay for your medical insurance. And that number keeps getting lower and lower because there's always somebody who's going to have more money than you. And at some point, if you're just earning 25 to 10 to 15 to 5, if you have any job at all, there's going to be a reason to tax the fucking shit out of you because of classism. Communism and socialism is not an economic system. It's a political system based on greed and envy. The fact that somebody has more than you somehow is an affront to your personal personhood. That's what that is.
We'll continue with this.
Which are the ones you're calling the authoritarian states. The only reason we're talking about communism is because of the experience corresponding to those states. There's nothing else.
Well, we are talking about communism because of those states, but for probably different reasons than you think.
Yes, not exactly as inspirational models, but as cautionary tales.
Cautionary tales and laughing stocks.
As they were for their own people by the end. Yes. But what this guy doesn't get is that nobody, like long before 1989, nobody believed in the actual ideology. It was just the way the head of the Lithuanian Communist Party described it was, we're 97% party members and 3% communists.
I agree.
There's nothing.
I couldn't hear it.
Else. Those anarchists in Spain were just shitting up the fucking Spanish Popular Front, who were actually the real ones there. Same thing goes for all the other anarchist troops.
Oh, okay. So that's so again. I guess he's blaming like the anarchists for leaving the Spanish Republicans because the Republicans were committing like war crimes against priests and civilians.
No, and it's like he's probably getting it the other way around. Like the Republicans betrayed the anarchists. They actually massacred their people in the streets. It was called the May Days in Barcelona.
Now, for the sake of this argument, is Haz technically wrong? He's basically saying, listen, I'm a true communist. I'm not shying away from this terrible system. I'm for all this murder and terribleness. You who are claiming to be a leftist or a communist, you're a heretic for not being as disgusting as our ideology says you have to be.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he's saying.
And he's probably right in that regard. This guy is just one of those people who's like, I believe in Marx, but communism is bad. And Haz is just, listen, it's communism or nothing. And he's right in that sense where, like, you either have to live in a shit society in a hut or, you're just wrong. You're ideologically a heretic.
Yeah, like it's really hard to divorce the communism from what happened under Stalin. And this is something that, Haz fundamentally gets.
Yeah.
Communists you want to refer to. Let me give you the background of breadtube and libertarian socialism. During the 60s, a lot of these wet diaper youth generation were trying to rebel against the established Soviet communist parties. So they revived anarchism.
Baby diaper. It's red baby diaper. It's not just, you missed a word there. It was baby. You missed the word baby, you fucking moron.
Dead and done, completely irrelevant, stupid, I think.
Also, I think he talks about how, the young people in the young people in America did that too, though.
No.
Except I would argue the young people in America were somewhat dumber because they had the whole sexual revolution thing, and turns out that's helped spread STDs.
But that's a whole nother topic for a whole other day.
That's like a whole nother debate.
Libertarianism, just as a way of expressing dissent because of their disappointment, their Western chauvinistic disappointment against the Soviet Union and against another sense, against the experience of China and other authoritarian communist countries. They were literally just trying to rebel against them. They were trying to say, well, we don't like capitalism and we don't like the current state of affairs, but those the real existing examples of socialism and communism. We don't really like those, so we're gonna just. It all came from the
because they objectively sucked. Like everyone who went there, food was in short supply. People lived in constant fear of each other. The governments were a bureaucratic nightmare. Everything was dull and gray, and it was miserable. They were objectively shitholes, and everyone saw that. And that is why people were so anxious to distance themselves from those quote unquote real existing examples of socialism.
Haz's argument seems to be that, those people over there, they were enemies of communism. They said that they didn't like it. So therefore they were enemies of the state. Therefore the communists had a right to slaughter them. Is that the argument? What is his actual point there? I'm not even sure what he's trying to get at.
That's actually something that comes up a lot with leftists. You see with Ben Knowlton justifying the crackdown and torture of protesters in Nicaragua and Venezuela.
And Hong Kong. This is how they talk about Hong Kong, too.
And Myanmar, but we can't just name every country that Ben Knowlton
It's amazing to the world and to the American right that a group that would claim that the Hong Kong protesters are insurrectionists, but somehow BLM burning down every major city in the country are somehow heroes. It's amazing. It's fucking amazing. It's insane.
All bullshit created by the CIA, probably, and the fucking deep state. As for this stuff about
your life experience isn't created by
the CIA. Yeah, it was the CIA responsible for putting communism into power in Eastern Europe and making it suck so much that everyone was turned off.
It's all controlled by the deep state.
Here's the thing, usually, when they talk about the CIA, usually if
why do I feel like my mother's yelling at me?
Yeah, but they're not creating they're not creating a division. Those whole
hey guys, I'm back.
Yeah, nice to hear from you.
But no, they're those divisions in
Ben Norton.
Europe. Well, they want CIA created. Those always exist. I feel like this is becoming too much of a meme with that background.
It's insane. I can't. I don't know if I'm OCD, but I think what Haz doesn't recognize is that it's actually the shallow state that's running the world. I don't know if he recognizes that. That was a joke that went nowhere. Okay.
I vaguely got it.
I suck.
I think Xander Hall, we might need to borrow some of those from you.
I gotta defend the communist states, dude. Of course, we're against the establishment and the establishment narrative. No, we're not the type of people who agree with the blue check establishment narrative. Yes, we are with those anti-establishment forces and all that kind of stuff. Yes, we are. And dude,
I think interestingly enough, I think Hall's actually, in the way he is kind of anti-establishment, but for the terrible reasons that he defended the Capitol riots. He defends Maduro. So
oh God. If this guy defends the fucking Capitol riots, I never ever want to see him condemning Hong Kong.
That much of a BLM supporter.
I think a good way to judge the Capitol riots is that if it was a group of black people taking over the Capitol, what would you want the police to do to them? And the answer is very harshly. Although, whatever, it's not the time for that. But I'm probably in this room. I'm probably the guy who's most apologetic towards that crowd, even though I say that it was terrible and awful.
Yeah, that's a can of worms and a rabbit hole.
I was just pointing out that this guy probably
was that much of a BLM supporter.
No, this is Haz. Ben Knowlton, I think he did disavow it, but for dumb reasons.
Why he uses a lot of modern phrases. He's supposed to be defending communist regimes, and this we started with the starvation of the Ukrainians, and somehow he's rambling about blue check marks and bread tube and the deep state. These are all modern terms that weren't invented until 2018. What the fuck are you talking about? Get back to the fact that you said that you admitted your fellow guy who you're debating with said you're making the case for capitalism because you admitted that it was social planning that caused the starvation. You just refused to admit that they targeted the Ukrainians. But even if you went with that, you still suck. I mean, you still fucking suck. So I don't know how we ended up with blue check marks and the deep state. I don't know what the fuck is going on. What's up next? You're gonna say that communism was great because fake news says otherwise? What other modern term are you gonna try to throw into this argument?
What?
Yeah,
No, I'm getting it.
I thought he was talking about the '60s and like left-wing movements and the splits in the '60s here.
Fake news. Blue check
Bigly
marks.
fake news.
The horseshoe is coming together.
Right before our eyes.
Yeah, because
Oh
think
my
about it.
God.
You
Yeah,
have
fake
Paul
news, deep state.
feuding.
What's
Yeah.
next? He's gonna say that communism was
The
based when they
banker
starved the people.
class.
So think about this. Paul is defending, is obviously doing all this right wing stuff, and you have Nick Fentress who says he'd rather live under a communist country than America under Trump.
Well, the truth is that these people are just about control. They don't really care who's in control as long as they're in power. So
It's
for Nick
power
Fuentes-
hunger.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
power hungry. That's all it is. So Nick Fuentes doesn't care if he has to live under a communist regime that's power hungry, as long as he's the guy pulling the fucking strings.
By the way, I'm a Lysenkoist, by the way. You didn't even know about that either.
No, we don't know about your all new modern phrases to explain murder and death and starvation. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
Lysenkoism, that's just complete and utter
Hey,
pseudoscience.
Here's
trying to
another thing I heard from Haz.
I'm not read up on Lysenkoism. Do you think you
Hey,
could?
Savick.
Oh,
Think you could-
basically, it was the pseudoscientific belief
Hey,
that
Savick.
about the inheritability of
Second.
acquired traits, and like most
Oh.
of the Soviet scientific establishment rejected it. But this guy Lysenko, who had Stalin's favor, was promoted, and it became the official standard.
What does that mean? You inherit a trade based on race or like how do you inherit a trade?
Hey, Savick.
I'm
It's
listening.
like a something. Yeah, it's like a. It's hard to. It's really complicated to explain.
Oh yeah,
but,
because Hall also denies evolution. That makes sense.
What the fuck?
Savick.
Yes. Yes.
I've heard Haz argue for multipolarity.
Okay. How does he do that?
I don't
He
know.
argues for like every military should be like equal to each other.
So how does anybody? Oh, that's supposed to make sure
that's
that
what
nobody
we had
wins.
back in like before World War One.
Well,
And we saw how well that ended up.
yeah, that was great. You had
Yeah,
two
he's
World
making
Wars
everything
later and a
equal.
Cold War. Yeah, sure. Like, how the fuck are you going to tell another country that you're not in charge of? Like, you're going to all meet at the UN and go, by the way, the Iranians, you're going to have just as many nukes as Israel. North Korea, you're going to have just as many nukes as we do. And how the fuck is this supposed to work exactly? Like, who's coming to this agreement? Like, what's going to end up happening is that any nations that are getting into this are going to give up their nukes for no reason, while all the bad actors are going to continue to build their arsenal. No one's going to listen to this because in the real world, we compete with each other. There's no utopian fantasy of like we should all be the same and equal. It doesn't fucking work. Just like it doesn't work economically, it doesn't work on the foreign policy field either. No one's going to go, yeah, no, I'm actually technically the only superpower in the world because I'm 200 years old. I'm going to give up my nukes so that fucking Thailand can rise to the prominence of the military greatness of the United States. It ain't going to fucking happen.
I have no idea what the fuck
Mainstream science is also
is.
bullshit. Mainstream science is also pretty much bullshit.
Wait, hold on. How deep is the deep state? You mentioned the deep state earlier. How deep is it?
I think it's pretty shallow myself. I don't know. I don't really think it's as deep as people think it is. I mean, I've dealt with I'm making the same joke again. It's going nowhere. All right.
I think you need to. I don't know if I should ask you to explain because it might make the joke less funny. But
no, because it's not as deep as deep. It's just shallow. It's like it's only 2 feet deep. It's not like it's not deep. Now that I've explained it, I've totally destroyed it. Thank you.
I thought that you were. I thought that you were. That's where you were going with it.
Oh, it's terrible. I don't know why I brought it up again. I tried again and failed miserably.
Hey man, I'm laughing at it, so I guess it worked.
I'm a moron.
Yeah, and the deep state originated in Turkey, actually.
Not
is where that term came from.
Is that true, or are you just fucking
Yeah.
with Alex?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's true. 100% is how Erdogan referred to his political opponents, that they were constantly plotting against him, and like they had this secretive state within a state. And I gotta say, I wouldn't be surprised if that's where Trump got the rhetoric from.
I mean, unfortunately the term is so abused that even if I were trying to describe certain elements within the Central Intelligence Agency or in other intelligence agencies, which are kind of doing their own thing, which kind of means the deep state, but the term is so abused. If even Haz and Trump are both using it, then it's just a fucking useless phrase at this point.
I think rogue element would be more.
It's not as catchy as the deep state, I gotta say. Deep state has a nice ring to it.
What do you mean? How deep is it? It
I
seems
wanna
like
know-
it's pretty
tell me
much
about
on
the deep state.
I need a lifeguard.
It's on the surface. Research a guy named Kantbot and Ed Berger, and they're fucking doing research mapping it on the fucking surface. It's all on the fucking surface. Look it up.
Ed Burger. I kind of want Burger now.
What the fuck happened to apologizing for the Soviet Union starvation of the Ukrainians? Where did that go?
I guess it goes here. I kind of understand. I've had conversations that go very off. Like, I've had a conversation.
Yeah, so have I when I was high. And then I would end up talking about the earth-shattering significance of Bugs Bunny. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, but no, I've actually had debates with Kevin.
I think I used to be a tanky. Now I switched to being a neocon.
What are you now? Oh, is that right?
Neocon.
What was the your waking
I was
shining
completely
moment?
on the other side.
Wow.
Yeah, I was completely on the other side though. I was a contrarian.
Oh shit.
That doesn't happen.
Those conversations do make sense, though, because I was talking foreign policy with Kevin Castley once, and then we ended up talking about Ladas.
Ladas,
the terrible Russian cause.
Yes, products of socialism and
war.
Yeah.
EB Berg on Twitter and Countbot KB Ultra Zero. Subscribe to their thing, and they're on a
Yes, and also they're sponsored by Ray Shadow Legends.
I'd also like to mention this Reddit user Steve Handle 21725. He's done some great research.
I'd also like to shout out my Twitter man N-Word Theo 69.
I have Cum Liquor 101, who definitely agrees with me. He said I'm definitely the shit. Although he seems to say that in everything, he might be a bot because I saw him say the same thing on a Reagan tweet. So who knows?
Oh, you think you're racist? I can be way more racist.
I can be way more racist. Well, good, you've won, sir. Thank you.
And you can listen to their fucking podcast, and they're dropping deep red pills about that shit. They're mapping it all. It's on the fucking surface, dude.
Red pills, blue check marks, base that never fucking ends with this guy.
Alex, see, here's the thing. I don't know if I kind of want to see a debate between Alex Jones and Infrared, but I'm afraid they might agree too much.
Yo, like this guy is exactly Alex Jones's energy. They would join forces.
Yeah.
Yes. But I don't know. I think Alex Jones is too much of an alpha. He doesn't take the challenges.
Yeah.
If Alex Jones thought this guy had an actual following, he'd hunt him down and shove a camera in his face. But
shows how irrelevant our friend Haz is.
Yeah.
Yes, he's basically our punching bag to make us laugh.
Yeah, a lol cow.
He's a lol cow.
Actually showing it and mapping it on the surface.
Holy shit.
Wait, so his whole argument was go listen to this podcast? You're not going to like bring your evidence? You're just going to say these two guys have a great podcast? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's like, I can source a lot of things. I can source that Wonder Woman is actually a sexist tool of the 50s. Go listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I had a great argument for this, but Ben Shapiro is doing some great work. You should go listen to his podcast. Mark Levin is doing some great work. You should go. Steve Dace is doing. Go listen to it. That's not an argument. If you can't summarize and editorialize in your little brain a fucking argument based on the shit that you've heard and learned, then you shouldn't be having debates.
Haz does not like criticism, though.
Haz not like criticism. Haz smash.
And he starts throwing his shit.
I wonder why his microphone, every time you say the letter S, it sounds like somebody's frying an egg. He's probably punched that thing more than he does his girlfriend.
No, he doesn't have, I don't think he has a girlfriend. I think every time he calls someone a cuck, it's projection because she cheated on him.
Oh, it could be. I don't know.
I'm glad.
I'm angry. Haz smash. Haz smash.
My life. Hold on. Wait. Please link me your Twitch. I need to sub to you because this is the most enjoyable fucking time I've ever had.
Same. He's just sitting there going, I'm just being tortured at this point. This isn't
How's
fun.
angry?
Oh. He's like, I don't care if you're right or wrong, but don't bore me for the love of God. I'm fucking dying here, Haz. Oh, shoot me, stab me, bury me in the ground, but don't bore me, Haz. You're killing me. I can't wait to sub to your fucking Twitch. I'm dying. He's got his head in his hands. This man's in pain.
As most people would be from hearing our friend the Monkey Man scream at the top of his lungs and spit into his microphone.
You think you can be racist? I can be way more racist.
No, actually, we have a nickname for Haz because in a debate with Dylan Burns, he called the Qing dynasty the King dynasty. And so his new name is
fuck
King
international courts.
King Kong.
And he literally made a video.
China's not practicing imperialism by invading Taiwan. They just have a border dispute. Oh, okay. So if Mexico invaded us, it's not imperialism. It's a border dispute. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, literally, like if on another debate with Dylan Burns, I don't think we're gonna get into that because
fuck your international courts.
Yeah, but he literally justified China going into the South China Sea and stealing it so they could dictate who goes there, so everyone wins. It's like,
hey Grayson,
he's a linguist. He's like, technically, that's not imperialism. If you looked up the 1745 term of what it is, okay, fine, fuckhead. It's not imperialism. It's still wrong.
Yeah. No, they use Lenin's term as if that one guy can redefine the whole fucking meaning.
Yeah.
Hey Grayson.
Yeah.
Fuck your international courts, man.
Yeah.
Everything's just ruled by America.
Infrared show.
Entertaining.
Infrared show. Or show infrared. I forget which one.
Thank you.
He can't even remember the name of his own show.
Welcome to Infoblue. I mean Infrared. I'm sorry.
Infrared.
Infrared. I'm sorry. Fucking clown.
Oh, God.
Fucking clown.
I'm going to sub to you.
Oh,
Holy
God.
shit. This is the most important shit I've ever heard in my life. Please keep going. Yes, infrared show. Please keep going. Please keep going. I want to hear more. I've ever heard in my life.
What do you want to hear? Anything you want. What do you want to hear?
I want to hear why your apology for the starvation of the Ukrainians under the Soviet regime, please.
I want to hear why you believe in fucking pseudoscience.
I'm here to tell you that the Holodomor was fake, bro.
Just a meme, bro.
Just a meme. It's a plot by the CIA. You're right. The entire starvation was a CIA hoax.
Yeah, even though the CIA didn't even exist.
The CIA is getting all this credit. There's a Latina woman right now working for the CIA, wondering if she should be getting all this credit.
No, here's the real thing. I can't believe, like, when people say the CIA did that coup in Venezuela, I'm surprised.
Or the Mossad.
Yeah,
people like to give the Mossad credibility too.
No, but consider this: when people call the Venezuelan coup a CIA plot, I wonder how many woke leftists get angry at that because it's taken the accomplishment of proud Latinos and giving it to the white man.
Yeah.
It's true.
Ooh, that's hitting him where it hurts.
I also want to add, fuck the international courts. Cheers.
Cheers, man. That's Savik. That's one thing we agree on with Haz.
There you go.
For different reasons, though.
Of course.
But
I think we should.
Tell me about the red pill. Tell me more. Just everything. Just keep going. Okay? Just let your heart guide you.
I don't know what you're interested in hearing.
Just let your heart guide you. I want to hear more.
This fucking debate is completely falling apart. Even worse than his normal yelling. He's not used to this guy just going, "You are boring me to death." Go ahead, go ramble on. Go ahead. I don't give a fuck. He's basically toned out. He might as well just fucking leave.
Here you go.
Hey, don't fucking laugh. Infrared is rising. We're the future of the left. God damn it!
You're the future of the left, and you've bored the shit out of a fellow communist. Congratulations.
Here's a real thing. Yeah. He's basically yelling at a wall.
Well, yes.
This guy's not listening. It's basically just him yelling at his wall, and his neighbors are probably like, "Fuck, not again."
Not this guy again.
It's every fucking day.
Well, honey, it's time to move.
I think one of them needs to file a noise complaint at a certain point.
Just call a gas leak on the building.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you ever happen to have a debate with Haz, all you have to do is like just babble like a babbling idiot because the guy's gonna cut you off anyway.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I should try to scream over him. See how well that works. I'll just keep screaming. I'll just start reading a Chinese menu, and I'll just keep yelling until it calms down.
Pork with black bean sauce.
General Tso chicken, motherfucker! General Tso motherfucking chicken!
I think you should do the Larry King on Dave Rubin and just take a phone call during the middle of it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could order Chinese food in the middle of it.
I will, but I'll do it yellingly, very loudly.
Yeah.
I'd like wings! Fucking wings!
Yeah. Unless you're in a military, man.
Like an idiot.
He sounds like a Muppet from like a Sesame Street, like the character that's supposed to teach you how to deal with anger. They just bring the little Haz Muppet out and goes. He's a fucking knuckle dragger.
What's the debate? Is that why you're trying to?
Oh, please keep telling me more. I'm being educated right now. Educate me. Educate me. I want to hear more.
You can call me a crazy person.
No, I just want to hear more. I just want to hear more.
What?
Let your heart guide you.
We just want to hear more.
He's totally clocked out. He's totally. This guy's not interested anymore in whatever Haz has to say. I don't even know why he's sitting there. He's just done.
One.
It's 22.
Yes, because of the truck.
22.
The truck, yes.
No, the car, not the truck. No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure.
No, I'm not. I'm going to forget.
Yes.
Remind me. No.
Dragon,
Go away.
Dragon, you might have to mute yourself. We interrupt debate for that little.
I feel like
Whatever
that's what
that
Haz. So he should be interrupted at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably his landlord handing him that eviction notice.
Oh, the poor people that have to live near him or with him.
Oh, man. Or what if it turns out he still lives with his mom?
Oh, there he goes again. Oh, dear God. Haz! All the communists will win. Just please shut the fuck up.
You know it's bad.
Mama, owning the live.
Mama Meatloaf! Communism is inevitable. And the meatloaf!
You know his dad is basically just at the store looking for cigars for 3 years.
Haz, what do you do for a living? I'm a college student. You're a college student. You have no real world experience.
Hey, Savik, he kind of looks like Castro.
He does. All he needs is a very expensive cigar because that's the only thing that gets exported out of that country.
Yeah, and the military fatigue.
That's what he does. Yeah, he does look like Castro. He looks like a more retarded Castro, if that's even possible.
I mean, here's the thing, though. At least Castro was buff. Like,
yeah, I don't think this guy's missed too many meals, so to speak. Unlike your average Cuban.
Yes.
Yeah, they miss a lot of meals over there.
Yeah. Let your heart guide you.
Okay, let's talk about the fact. That BreadTube are a bunch of fake socialists.
That's what you want to talk about?
And the fraud squad who voted for Nancy Pelosi. Why? Explain that.
Oh,
that's what this motherfucker is going to go talk to another communist about the fact that what do they call it? The fraud squad is not pushing a progressive agenda. That's what you think the current pushing issue of your ideology is? It goes down to a childhood bartender who has to pronounce the word that every 5 seconds. Well, I think AOC is the big issue of the day.
Here's the thing: the squad is like, who thinks the squad isn't progressive? Like, the only reason they vote, but they also vote for Nancy Pelosi because they realized, oh crap, there was actually real shit to politics. It's like,
yeah, you actually have to make decisions. You can't just stick up your middle fingers at everyone.
Well, the far left believes that they didn't force the vote on healthcare when they had control. I don't necessarily disagree with them.
Okay.
I just don't think that it's the pressing issue of the fucking day. You bring another guy on to debate. Like if you had the conversation with Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro or Kevin Casserly, you will be talking about the intricacies of conflict, of war, and with Jordan Peterson, your role in life, your relationship with your father, your design, where you should be as a father, as a citizen, as a patriot. And now we're down to talking about shitty politicians that nobody gives a fuck and using words like blue check and deep state and all sorts of other bullshit. Like he's given the opportunity. The guy says, what do you want to do? Just go on. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. And this is the small-minded bullshit that he wants to talk about.
yeah.
Terminally online is what that's called. It's something we all got to avoid. I know somebody who unironically told somebody to cope and seethe in real life. We should really. This guy is a living example of where that leads.
Yes, Haz is the kind of guy to walk up to you in a restaurant and go like, "Sir, I'm blocking you. I did not like that opinion. Sir, this is real life. You can't just block me."
Hey, Savvy. You ever heard of Alex R?
I have not.
Yeah, I think some of us in the, I think some of us in the hawk community know who that is.
Alex. Yeah. Oh, you mean Alex, the Turkish guy?
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, the guy who thinks that Erdogan is wonderful, even though the recent report came out and said that the Turkish schools are beginning to teach jihad instead of the old way where it was actual secularism.
Did you see his recent tweets recently?
No. Is he talking about how, as an authoritarian, he should be allowed to rape women?
Surprisingly not.
Oh, it got worse.
Oh.
What did he say?
Call Mexicans hoes and scammers.
Oh, that's right. Because was he actually in Mexico?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He might be right on that front.
Like,
well, listen, what's his name? Alex? Alex, maybe you shouldn't be hanging around in a casino in Mexico and you won't be surrounded by actual whores and people who are trying to steal your money.
No,
spend your money wisely.
Yes.
Speaking of like Erdogan, though, I will say the one thing I like that he's doing is that he's going to war with Assad. Not because I don't support him. I support the two just butt fucking each other and destroying their chances of beating the West.
Sir, are you trying to have nuance in this conversation? How dare you? You are now a communist Nazi.
So, Grayson, you do support balkanization in that sense.
So what you're saying is that you hate the Turkish people and you love Erdogan.
No, I'm just saying I like. No, I just like the fact that Assad and Erdogan butt fuck each other and can't focus on.
I get it. I was kidding.
Yeah, I know. Every time I admit that I should hit K.
Why don't we talk about why they voted for Nancy Pelosi again, even though they didn't fucking have to? We're trying to defeat fascism. That's why you got to vote for Biden to defeat fascism. Biden fucking won, dude. Why did they vote for Nancy Pelosi? Go.
Sure, because it's probably the most plausible, pragmatic option to make.
Why is that?
Probably because no other candidate that was more progressive could probably make it, and the only other ones that
You
could
only
probably make
seek
it were
a pragmatism with a predefined set of conditions of possibility. Whereas, if you're actually a true socialist, like all these people, true progressive, you redefine the conditions of possibility. Of course, everything's fucking pragmatic when you're on your fucking knees for what's already the status quo and the established.
Oh yeah, I guess he's against reformism, obviously.
I actually agree with Haz. I hate to say it. I agree with him on this, but I don't know why we're talking about this. I don't know what this petty inny nanny conversation. I don't know how we got to this stupid conversation. I agree with him on this, but I don't know how we got here.
The whole point is to build a new people's power. The whole point is to challenge the fucking establishment. Why did they vote for Nancy Pelosi? Go ahead, explain.
Do you believe what? Did you vote? I'm curious. Did you vote in the?
No, I don't
2020
vote. I'm
election?
not a cop. I don't vote.
Mask off. Well, it's always mask off, but
Yeah. Hey, hey, Savick. I mean, this guy should be give Joe Biden at least some credit. He is planning to leave Afghanistan.
I don't know if you can give anybody credit since he's not actually involved in the political system at all. So this kid just fucking... I didn't even need to say anything. That should just be a clip on its own. The kid going, by the way, do you vote? No. Oh, but you want to worry about who AOC voted for speakership?
Yeah. So Savick, yeah. I mean, Biden...
No, you don't understand, Savick. Voting is for cucks.
Oh, voting is for cucks. You're right. So this whole political conversation is pointless. Why don't you just go
I
play...
heard he supported Bernie Sanders.
There you go. So why don't you go play pool somewhere, you relax and have a drink and just ignore this entire political conversation entirely.
Take the grill pill.
Take the vote pill, why don't you, and actually be active in your own community.
I actually don't care if people like this... I don't want people like this to take the vote pill, to be honest.
That's actually true. But that's besides the point. This guy is so active, has so many opinions, but he can't get out the door and pull a switch.
So you don't vote.
I will only vote as my duty as part of an independent organization.
I've actually done a write-in, which is
right
better
now.
than nothing.
It's the only reason I would ever fucking vote. Voting as an individual, individualistic cuckery is for libs.
Oh.
You know, honestly, there's all this talk about election bills and how they're suppressing the vote. No, if you really want to get people to suppress the vote, you just hire Halls as like a voting manager.
Okay. Hey guys. Just a reminder. I am not on the left at all. So
we know.
That's good.
I'm not on the left.
It's great. See what
so
Georgia
I don't care about.
What Georgia needs is not more voting laws. What they need is Haz as a representative to tell everybody, black and white, of any stripe or color, never to vote. And that's perfect. That's fucking excellent. The Georgia voting
the voter ID
laws are racist. The voter ID laws are racist. But Haz is a fucking genius for telling his entire Discord not to vote at all.
Because voting, in his words, is probably cringe and soy and Reddit and blue pill.
And Reddit and blue pill and cuckery and deep state. And all the other fucking things you can throw into one.
Yeah.
On the bright side, most people probably won't understand what those things mean and they'll still vote.
I hope, by the way, if his Discord ever hears this, I hope your entire Discord never fucking votes. Whoever in this room said, I hope that they don't vote because he's a leftist, that's absolutely true. Hey, Discord, follow Haz's advice. Never fucking vote.
Just follow your leader.
Follow the leader. Don't vote. It's cuckery. You don't want to be a cuck, do you? You want to be a man. Don't vote.
Don't vote. Just stay home and jerk off.
Yes. It's way more.
Jerk off to the Soviet national anthem.
Keep coping.
They have some great shiny uniforms as they march along the street. Watch some old videos of them rolling their shitty tanks through town and just come to that.
Yeah, just come to that. It's just like, just what are your old style great uniforms?
Yeah, we're like not even a third of the way there.
We're not a third of the way. If this is not over yet, even the other guy.
We'll get there eventually.
Is tired of him. How are we supposed to deal with him?
We're together though. Together we can do this.
We can do this. Jesus Christ! By the way,
finish the job.
Is this going to be available anywhere so that I could take the clips?
This is going to be on my YouTube.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Cuck. I don't go on the vote. Why the fuck would I get out of my fucking bed and drive to the fucking polls and vote as an individual? What a stupid fucking thing.
By the way, I just want to say, somewhere out there's a cuck who's very upset that everybody's using his sexual fetish as a term to mean that you're a shithead.
You know what, Vosh? Hey, you know what Vosh said back then?
What?
He said, if you better vote for Biden, you show a picture of your ID with a check mark, or else he'll kick the shit out of you.
Well, he's a good man. Like, I don't want to get the shit kicked out of me, so I voted Biden myself. I'm scared of Vosh in my computer screen.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like people be like, "Oh, you drive." This is my counter to Haz. Like, "Oh, you go to the con, you drive to the poll like a cuck." I'm like, "No, I walk to the polls. I don't have a car."
Oh, you're an alpha male.
In all fairness, it's probably too much to ask this man to get off his ass and his couch, jerking off to Soviet hentai or whatever.
No, what's funny is I don't know if there's anyone who doesn't know this yet, but he's in law school.
I don't know how this guy's in law
He
school.
hates lawyers, man.
Yeah, he hates lawyers. So
this is the kind of shit we're sending to law school. These people who hate us, these people who hate our system, these people who hate our country. This is this guy's going to end up working for the Innocence Project, who's just going to defend some murderer who killed a family of 7. That's his role in life.
No, but could you imagine him in court?
Oh, it'd be awful. He'd just be screaming his head off at the judge. The judge would be like, "You're in contempt." "I'm in contempt." "Do you know what the word contempt meant in 1746? The dialectic description of contempt is not what you think it is. I owned you. I just owned you, judge. I demolished you and I owned you."
Oh my god. All TV ratings are going to go through the roof after that.
Hey, he can become the star of his own TV legal drama.
Next on Court TV, it's the Haz Show. Will he be in contempt today? Let's find out.
The answer inevitably is yes.
Yes, every episode.
He's like the guy.
He ends up in contempt.
He's like the guy for the Boondocks. You know, the guy just goes in the uniform, just switches spaces, like he just runs.
Yeah,
runs off.
Where's he going? Nowhere.
All right, go ahead.
I'm actually curious if you're trolling right now.
I'm not trolling.
So you don't care about?
I'm high energy. I'm a high energy.
You are very entertaining. You are very high energy.
Fun with the sun type shit. You know what I'm saying? We're reviving communism. Down with the socialist cucks. You know what I'm saying? We're going viral. Infrared.
I don't know what you're saying. Why do you keep having to ask me if I know what you're saying? I don't know what you're saying. Stop asking me if I know what it is. I don't.
I'm high energy.
I'm high energy. I'm not a psychopath. I'm not Charlie Manson covering up the body of somebody I don't even know. I'm just high energy as I eat fucking remains of victims that I've murdered with my rage problem.
Also, have you noticed how dirty his apartment is? I'm just looking out.
There's no. Well, I noticed there's no paintings. The other kid looks like he's like got a computer. He's got like a little desk. This guy is on a weird. Haz is on a weird angle, and there's no. What looks like a fire alarm is that little white thing. It looks like there's just the basic necessities and a window.
He needs to clean his room.
He definitely needs to clean his room. He needs Jordan Peterson in his life.
But I'm really curious. Can you wait? I need you to stand up and show me your chest because you're so high energy. I think you have a Iron Man.
Haz, clean your room.
Yeah, he shows his chest and it's like some pork belly.
Oh, you can't go. I can't do a good Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I don't know who.
Tell him to clean his room in Jordan Peterson voice.
Haz, clean your room.
Haz no understand.
Haz don't get it. What kind of dialectic is this? Clean room. What mean clean room?
That's how high energy you are right now. Stand up. I want to see your chest. Show me your chest.
Look at my chest. It's so big. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what is it about? Go ahead. Go tell your point about why they had to fucking do force the vote.
Wait, why
they fucking vote for Nancy Pelosi? And why did you guys slander Jimmy Dore and try to shit on Jimmy Dore?
Oh shit! I actually,
I'm very sad to say this. I know everyone's going to hate
Jimmy
me.
Dore doesn't have any ideas, dude.
I
He's a
actually
grifter.
agree with Haz on this. They shouldn't have voted for Pelosi, and they should have forced the vote. I mean, I'm not a leftist progressive, but if you're going to be in power and if you're going to have the votes, then you should push whatever agenda it is that you have. You can't turn around and tell these people, by the way, the free college we promised you, the free as bad as these things are, I'm happy they can't get it done. But I don't understand how they have the votes and don't push it. I actually agree with Haz on this and Jimmy Dore.
I do. Yeah.
Shoot me in
I
the
think
head.
you might as well.
Yeah, like if
I was
I always
saying
had this
Jimmy
problem
Dore
with
doesn't-
conservatives. When conservatives would hold power, they would never push the agenda. But I don't think this is how do you go from starving the Ukrainians to this bullshit?
That's
Yeah.
Haz.
We keep switching the topic.
Came alive for a new people's power and a new progressive power
Yeah!
of the fucking democratic establishment.
Can we play the Russian anthem behind him as he screams?
I don't know how I can do that.
That would be great.
Hang on, let me see.
Like if anyone has hold on, I might be able to blast it from my phone, but
Hang on. Okay, I'm going to blast it right now on my screen.
All
Let me
right,
There
see.
we go. Let's rewind a bit to where he goes like, "I am the new people's power of blah 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 blah."
okay, hold on, let me see if
I'm actually going to stand up and salute for this. Hang on one second. Okay, here I'm standing now.
All right. 1,
Why
2,
Where's the vote?
3.
Why did they fucking vote for Nancy Pelosi? And why did you guys slander Jimmy Dore and try to shit on Jimmy Dore? Why? Because Jimmy Dore is trying to keep the flame alive for a
don't hear
new
it.
people's power and a new progressive politics independently.
You don't hear it?
Oh, now I hear it. Shit, I ruined it.
You tell me why you bred two people who are supposed to be socialists, supposed to be offering some kind of fucking alternative.
I don't think I heard it.
No, I barely heard it. Anyway, the moment's gone, but it would have been pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'll go. Let me go off topic for a minute.
Go
For a
ahead.
second here, Grayson.
Okay.
And none of you hear it?
Personally,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
heard it
It
for
did.
like a split second.
It's in a new
Yeah.
tab. So yeah, one of you is going to have to find some way.
The moment's over.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Maybe I might have a way, but this might be.
By the way, fuck the
Grayson,
international
just for 2
courts.
seconds, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I think it's better to be an anti-hero than a superhero.
I don't know. Superman makes a pretty good case for himself.
So does a Punisher.
That's true.
Okay, I might actually be able to get this.
All right, play it.
Oh wait. Hold on. Let me. I messed that up a little, but
All right.
okay.
Why you bred two people who are supposed to be socialists, supposed to be offering some kind of fucking alternative, like to a hit piece on Jimmy Dore. You were cheering for fucking Nancy Pelosi. Going back. She's part of the establishment, and the
That was
SWAT
good.
capitulated to her by fucking voting for her, even after she was defeated. What was the reasoning for that? Explain it to me.
Probably trying to keep the most progressive party that's viable in America in power. Try to keep the fascist sick Republicans out.
By the way, it's a fucking race to the bottom if you keep only siding with the most progressive. Guess what, dude? Let's say you live in a Nazi party.
You just wait. Hold on. Are you an accelerationist? I'm curious. Are you an accelerationist? You think it's like
Okay, that's enough of that.
That's great. He's jumping on top of a desk, screaming about the future. We gotta set new standards, and the Soviet anthem is playing in the background. That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Grayson, are they do the whole thing?
The whole song? No.
No.
Ow.
No, the whole video. The whole video.
I'm not going to do. Oh, we're going to do the whole video. We're not doing the whole song.
Oh.
And if we let the fascists take power, and you
I don't
think
buy
people-
it.
Yeah, I don't really buy the whole fascist Republican being fascist thing.
Well, I don't either, but I get
Yeah.
Haz's argument. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Trump's a fascist. I think you guys are fear-mongering, making shit up. Trump isn't a fucking fascist. Show me the fascists. There's white supremacists. There are neo-Nazis. As far as I'm concerned, among Trump supporters, they're a fucking minority. And I know they're a fucking minority.
Okay, so I guess Haz does have a legitimate point here, so I guess that's 1 point to
Yeah.
Haz. So
Yeah, I
congratulations.
mean, like it's.
Congratulations, Haz. It's 1 point you, 99 million points Vanderhall.
I just broke my chair. I don't know how I did that, but my chair is broken. I was laughing and I wasn't paying attention. My chair is broken. Holy fuck!
Hans broke your chair.
Hans broke my chair. Goddamn communists are breaking my fucking chairs. Jesus Christ! Hang on, I gotta put the bottom of this on. Go ahead.
I know Trump supporters. I fucking know Trump supporters, dude. I live in fucking Michigan. I know these fucking people personally.
Oh, we now know where it lives.
We didn't know beforehand?
I supported
Yeah, I didn't know where he
I
lived.
voted for Trump.
I thought it was New York or something.
Yeah.
No, that guy wouldn't survive in New York.
Oh no.
Okay, I
Oh,
voted
Michigan.
for Trump, dude.
That Michigan, that seems like that's not a place I expected, but okay.
Okay.
Now let's look up law school in
Grayson,
Michigan.
I voted for Trump, to be honest.
Yeah, but we can just look up law schools in Michigan,
minute.
and we
Wait a
can
minute.
just like
Which one of these two voted for Trump? The guy on the right voted for Trump?
neither of them.
Who just said I voted for Trump?
Oh, Dragon.
Oh, okay. Well, I would assume.
Yeah.
They're not fucking neo-Nazis. They're not. So where's the fucking fascism you're talking about specifically? Yeah, you're gonna point to me to Charlottesville.
Damn.
You know, because all these fucking.
All right, I think we need to play the American anthem now. We've had it with the
together.
communist anthem. I think we need to play the American anthem as he defends
Trump support.
Trump supporters.
Okay, hold on.
Somebody needs to make a political compass video with this guy's face and all the slugs.
His political compass is just an never-ending dialing spin that just goes around in circles.
Yeah.
Okay, I got this.
Yeah. Hey, Savick.
Yo, by the way, fuck the
I know these
international
fucking
courts.
people personally.
Yeah.
They're not fucking
Yeah.
neo-Nazis.
I didn't
They're
hear
not.
about it.
So where's the fucking fascism you're talking about specifically? Yeah, you're gonna point to me. I know because all of these fucking guys from 4chan congregated together. Congregated together and met up together, and it was a big spectacle, big distraction. The only people who thrive from this fascism mongering are the fucking elite. They want to scare the shit out of fucking progressives.
God. Hey, Savick. I mean,
Yeah.
the actually biggest holder, the liberal status quo is Hillary Clinton.
But she's not relevant anymore.
Yeah, I'm saying at the time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Democrat Party line at the expense of building an independent people's progressive politics. Make excuses for that.
Are you unironically defending the fucking guy, Donald J. Trumperson?
Yeah!
Biden was a communist,
Yeah.
eliciting anti-communist rhetoric through his fan base for the
Joseph
last-
Stalin Trump.
He's a clown in the world, and the people are laughing at him in the world, and he corresponds to the decline of American hegemony. You think the people of the world give a shit about Trump? The people of the world give a shit maybe more a little about Biden, because now Biden wants to go to war with Russia. He wants to spill more blood.
And that's not. What did Biden do?
Biden, okay.
Not like he's not a
Biden,
warmonger.
okay, put it on. I gotta respond. I gotta respond to this. He's not going to war with anybody. I mean, with Russia, he did talk tough, with Russia. Well, he'll respond militarily, and he soon backed off. He even canceled submarine deployment to the Donbass. And plus, the thing again with Afghanistan, so he's white flag Joe.
Well, he's in bed with the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians don't like Russia because his son made a fuck ton of money with them. So of course he's against Russia.
Yeah, but I'm saying, no, I know, but he's backed off to Russia. He canceled submarine deployment.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that this leftist on the right, his mind is blown because he doesn't understand the nuance that Haz can actually be a communist and somehow understand that not every single Trump supporter was a Nazi. This kid on the right, his head is going to explode. I feel, somebody should call an ambulance now because he's going to have a heart attack.
He probably, Zanderthal probably thinks every Trump supporter is a fascist.
He probably does. He thinks he's winning the argument because Haz is saying every Trump supporter is not a fascist.
He does have a point here,
He's
though.
doing the best as he could to stay out of that
Go
shit.
to war with Russia?
Since you're such a pragmatic utilitarian or whatever, you tell me, Trump had Bolton, all these fucking hawks he had to appease because of the Republican establishment. He was in bed with them. He had to be. Okay. Trump himself didn't really want to get into these interventions. So,
I got a great thing for him, actually.
Since you're such a pragmatic utilitarian, who would have led to the spilling of less blood for the people that maybe are a little bit too subhuman for you? You're an esteemed bread tube, true socialist, and all the other authoritarian all those type of people, just Oriental despots. They don't fucking matter. You're a pragmatic, whatever the
And
fuck.
Biden has given less tough on Iran. I mean, yeah.
Warmongering hawk.
I did some mongrel throat singing. I don't think it.
Oh, that's the metal mongrel song.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I could be way more
Also,
racist.
Biden
Give me that
is
mongrel
kind of-
metal music.
In power,
Yeah.
maybe Biden will make you feel better, dude. He'll give you little shout outs.
I love Biden. I love him. He's going to shout me out on CNN. Biden's going to go on CNN. He's going to shout me out. It's going to be awesome. Oh, I'm actually curious. Define socialism for me.
All you care about is superficial bullshit.
Can you define socialism and communism for me? Just like independently, like define socialism.
A real question.
Do it for me.
Okay, it depends on the fucking context. There is no preemptive, written in stone tablet. You have to look at the meaning of socialism based on how it has been used historically. And how it was used in the 19th century was, after industrial modernity, the peasants who were used to having a specific fixed social bonds in the countryside were kicked off their fucking land, thrown on the street in these cities, and there was a substantial loss of a sense of common sociality. So the word socialism intervened to describe this need to return to some kind of common social reality. Just like how now the factory workers, their jobs are shipped overseas, and now there's also this similar type of loss.
Oh shit, you're a protectionist. Nice. Hold on.
No, I didn't say anything about that.
You literally argued against the idea of shipping.
Go ahead. How am I protectionist? Explain.
I gotta go pee. Hold on. Can you rant at my stream for a minute?
I do believe in free trade.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why I paused there. I thought someone wanted to say anything, but nothing substantive. But maybe this ranting will prove.
Yeah, dude. All you Xanderthal viewers, guys, I swear to God, I'll win you over. I know I'm going to win a lot of you people over. I'm going to win a lot of these breadtube people over.
How are you going to swear to God? I thought you were an avowed communist. Don't you not believe in God? What are you swearing to?
Oh, wait, hold on, wait a second. Did he just acknowledge a devout being that wasn't Xi Jinping?
He did. He swore to it too, which is very strange. So maybe he just means I'm not going to win any of you over because I'm swearing to something that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
He's doing more of this WWE bullshit where he has to announce what he's going to do, and then when he's done saying what he said, he's announcing that he had just done that. I bet right now he's going to make some kind of point, and then afterward he's going to go, see, I just won a bunch of you over. Because that's what he does. He's like the beginning and end of every fucking question. He doesn't allow any interaction of an actual audience to judge him on his opinions, whether they won or not. That's not how debates work. You don't have to tell the audience that you've won.
He always says he won. I won the debates.
That's what he does, because he has no ability or faith in an audience to actually ratio him to let him know if he's won.
Infrared is the future.
I can deal with the fact that I lose sometimes.
I lose all the time. Like my chair just lost tonight because I was laughing so hard.
In the age of multipolarity and the post-COVID world, I can't even see what you fucking guys are saying. You know what I'm saying? My chat is more powerful than you guys' chat. You're gonna see my.
Oh, that's another Haz.
Your chat is just full of monkey emojis.
So who wants to share this video to the infrared Discord?
I don't know. Anybody? You gotta put it on you gotta put it on YouTube first.
It is on YouTube. It's live.
Oh, nice.
My chat is more high energy, more powerful than you. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
It is what it is, B. Because if it wasn't what it was, then it wouldn't be.
No one can beat me in a debate. No one. And I didn't prepare for this. It's off the top of my fucking head.
Keep telling us that you're gonna win. Why don't you just make the fucking argument? Jesus fucking Christ Almighty!
Yeah,
this shit
he always says, "I won.
I won. It's either I'm going to win or I have won. Just fucking say what you're gonna say. I'm beginning to sound like him. I'm
Yeah,
getting so
just
mad.
make the point. Just
Yes, I'm gonna bring my level really down so I don't sound like him anymore.
stick to the point.
All your idols are gonna come down.
Okay, you got me.
You're like the fucking League of Shadows coming into Gotham.
I'm sold.
You
Give me
don't know-
that vacuum cleaner,
you
you
don't know-
door-to-door cheap salesman.
You don't know what we fucking came to, dude. We're taking over this shit.
You came from Michigan.
Infrared's rising. We're growing at such a rapid pace, and this fucking stream right here gonna propel us into the fucking stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. High energy, capital C communism will dominate. Right?
By the way, most people who recognize him won't do it because he's a massive log cow.
Yes.
Okay, Savick, I got something on my mind real quick. Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you're gonna hawk pill the world, you might as well start off with people that don't know anything.
That's true.
That don't know their ass from their elbow.
But why would we want people who don't know their ass from their elbow to be anything pilled? Shouldn't we keep
So
them
you
from
can
voting?
use them.
I don't really want to use people.
I guess we all
Yeah, but
lost
if you're gonna use
Red.
Yeah, pause it. Yeah, play it.
To dominate BreadTube. We're about that.
By the way, is this shared yet in this stream or
communism? Oh, I'm a libertarian.
What did you say?
it can't really be shared in this stream, right? Because they're listening to him live and we keep pausing it, right? So they're not gonna give a fuck.
Yeah.
All right, I mean, we could share it in there, but I don't think they're gonna be interested.
I won't do that because that'd be too cringe. I don't want to deal with them.
All right.
No, we're a capital C communists. We're 100% Stalinist, 100% Maoist.
Listen, the guy went up to take a piss. You had your chance to win over the audience. You said you were going to win over the audience. This guy went up to take a piss. You had your fucking 2 minutes to make your case, and all you said was, "I'm going to make my case. I am going to win. I'm inevitable. I'm winning." But you didn't make your case at all. You didn't make a fucking case.
Yeah, I'm invincible. I am invincible.
I am inevitable. I am the greatest. I am Superman. All your idols will be crushed before my feet.
I am
Every
gods.
time you and you're gods.
You hop on board. Rising tide lifts all.
That piss I just took was in your honor. I want you to know that glorious urination.
Okay. All you could do, dude, is sit there and laugh at me and mock me.
Yeah, that actually is appropriate for Stalinist because, as mentioned earlier, he did die in his piss.
Yeah, there you go.
Me and be smug and shit. Dude, that's
It's not
so
even when you come to
2019,
beat this guy.
so 2010s, dude. The age of smug irony is over, dude. Now we're gonna have
Hang on a minute.
This
This guy started the stream talking about history, and he's talking about blue pills and check marks, but he wants to go old. Bro, that's so 2019. That's so 3 years ago. And by the way, let me say that the Ukrainians were never starved to death in during right before World War II. Like, make up your mind. What is out of bounds and what is not? What is your time frame? Is 2019 too old? But the fact that the Ukrainians were starved by the Soviet powers, that's an acceptable argument we're supposed to have. Like, how? Like, your attention span is that of a goldfish. Like, how? What is the time frame? I don't understand how 2019 is bad, but talking about the the starvation of the Ukrainians is somehow an okay conversation. What the fuck?
All right.
Trolling or not? I'm actually like, I can't tell if you're trolling
listen.
or not.
Listen. You don't know if I'm trolling or not, dude. You don't know if I'm
Also, I might have to end this around 40 minutes because I have to take a shower and get to bed soon because I have school in the morning.
Are you telling me you have a life?
Yes, surprisingly, I actually have a life outside of YouTube.
Are you telling me that you can't just stay online forever?
Yeah. And Grayson, do not skip class because the teacher will hit your ass with a paddle. Bro.
Yes.
Oh, you mean I'm telling you, I never skipped class. That was a break.
No, I'm saying if you would have. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying if he caught you in the video, he would have hit you with a paddle.
Okay.
trolling or not, dude, your mind is stuck in the 2010s. Everybody's thinking in the 2020s. That's your fucking problem, dude.
I know. I'm very. I still, to be honest though, you're actually kind of right. You know, I'm actually like such a fucking boomer. Have you ever played the game Minecraft?
You're a boomer. How old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
Okay, you're a baby.
No, I'm a boomer.
Hey, I'm
okay?
older. I'm
I imagine
24.
I mean, Savak, if you want to give your age, if you don't.
I'm 97 years young.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Craft,
You're a baby.
I still think
Yes.
I'm stuck in the 2010s, dude. You're completely right. I'm still stuck in that 1.2.5 Minecraft version, okay?
For
I'm
example,
still stuck in the
BreadTube
2010s.
has-
You're completely correct.
For example, in the 90s. BreadTube's aesthetics are what? Vaporwave bullshit. Dude, that's still 2010s.
Okay,
Infrared's aesthetics.
you're actually right. Fucking Vaporwave is garbo.
Go on our channel. Go on our
Vaporwave is
channel right
fucking
now.
garbage.
See
dude.
how unique our style is. See how unique our style is. 2020s era. Want to show the chat our channel on YouTube.
I looked at your channel. Hold on. Let me bring it
On
up.
YouTube.
Actually,
On YouTube.
infrared.
Yeah, infrared.
Infrared is a group.
Because I don't think you're gonna come up if I search infrared.
Look up the unknown culture revolution.
Unknown culture. Look, I even type like a boomer, dude. Look, I'm not a baby. I'm a boomer. I'm a baby boomer.
Looks uninterested.
So you've got like a crudely made thumbnail of me. Hold on, am I in there?
Yeah, it's like only like 2,200 subs.
I didn't even know who you were before tonight.
I think it's wait, why were you there like the second I went live though? I was just doing a drunk media share stream. You were there the second I went live.
Because my chat told me about you and tells me about BreadTube and it's telling me a lot of things.
I'm pretty sure the chat is just him.
The chat is telling me things. It's telling me to build an ark and to take every animal by one.
Oh my! What do you say? I can just imagine him talking to like a psychiatrist, and he's like, "Don't blame me. The chat told me to kill them." Does this chat talk to you a lot? Is the chat here with us right now?
Oh.
This weak ass shit. Lord Red Brick. Remember the name. Infrared's growing.
Hold
Look
on,
how beautiful our channel is. How beautiful it is. Look how beautiful it is. Our aesthetic. And you're gonna think you're gonna compare us to BreadTube, dude. Look at us. Look at our style.
Very beautiful.
Style.
My
Unmatchable
dude.
vision. Unmatchable style.
I guess that like images you just pulled off of like fucking Google Images are pretty 2020. You got me there.
It's the consistency. We pulled them off from the internet, but
You
don't understand. I've just got these great memes. Look at this website. I'm going to destroy you. Look at these great pictures I have.
We pulled them
Look at
off
my
from the
site.
internet.
Look at us. I'm growing. 2,200 subs. Get in there, man.
It's what ones you're gonna pull
We're a
off.
big gorilla army.
Consistency. Let me tell you something. This is just an example. It's just our aesthetic style. In every regard, BreadTube is outdated. Marxism, Leninism is the future. Socialism with Chinese characteristics is the model of the future. It has surpassed Anglo-Saxon liberal capitalism. Liberal BreadTube, libertarian socialism.
Anglo-Saxon capitalism.
Wait, is
Anyway, I'll find. This would be close to the end because I'm just gonna find a place where we can like leave off because.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna watch the whole video.
Same thing.
We'll watch it another time because I have to go to sleep.
Yeah, let's do a part 2. Let's finish at 40.
Okay, we're finished.
Caleb Maupin's a nice, normal guy, and he doesn't degrade himself like how I'm doing. But I'm a fucking crazy guy, dude. And
he doesn't admit he degrades himself.
I like to wrap myself in cucumber peels and roll through mud.
Cucumber pills.
Hey, man, what you do in your own home?
I just like to gouge. I just like to gouge bullets, man.
I like to
Because I'm a
degrade myself.
savage.
I like to degrade myself. I have a dominatrix smack me in the face and call me a bitch and say, my father was right. I'm not going to amount to anything.
I walk around with
Savage.
an anime body pillow everywhere I go.
Hey, Grayson. Grayson, I'm pretty much an anti-moralist because I'm a savage.
Yeah.
Because that's what I am, dude. I love it.
You're not gonna treat me.
I
like
respect it. I respect the craziness. I'm actually having a really good time. I'm gonna fucking follow you on Twitch and watch your streams.
You guys are so
This is entertaining as fuck.
It was incredible, and he was so respectful.
Wait, are you
Your
actually?
aesthetics are weak as fuck.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. DM me right now. Are you actually trolling? Just DM me, okay? Don't
I'm
just
not
DM me the
trolling.
answer.
I'm not
No,
trolling.
no, no,
I'm
no.
not
DM me
trolling.
the answer. Okay, listen. I know it's like you have to because like people are watching right now, and
Listen,
you can't
listen,
you can't make
listen.
it public.
I'm
Like after this tonight,
This
Listen,
fucking
listen,
kid
really fucking good.
is a
I-
snot-nosed little bastard.
Listen, Zach,
This
All right,
fucking
one thing. All right, one more thing. All right. I think they're both socialists, but one of them likes to sanitize everything, and one of them's honest. I'll just point that out.
It's very close to true. I love what a snotty little bastard he is. He's just a snooty little sarcastic bastard.
Vanderhall, I just don't take myself that fucking seriously. That's the thing. I just don't take myself that seriously. I'm having
Yes, you fucking do.
for the chat, for my chat. You know what I'm saying? And I'm high energy, and I don't take myself that fucking seriously. I just
High.
okay, but I'm not a
You
smug
don't think
irony
you're
guy, and that's not how I like.
taking
You
yourself that
irony people, you
seriously.
act like you're so laid back and shit, but all you do is make fun of other fucking.
But you're dominating the airwaves, though.
Can make fun of themselves, and I don't give a fuck, dude.
Did he
I'm
just say he doesn't
willing
take himself seriously?
I don't know.
Hey, Savick. Hey, he's dominating the airwaves.
All right, gentlemen, I gotta go, but I'll see you guys later. It was a lot of
All right,
fun.
let's finish
Somebody
this.
link
Yeah.
me to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'll link it to you when we're done, and I'm going to end the stream right now.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta
One
run.
more thing, Grayson. All right. One more thing, Grayson. You there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're pretty much honest. They're both socialists, but one of them likes to sanitize everything, and one of them is just honest.
All right. So yeah, I'll just make my closing remarks. Thank you all for watching. I think this was the most fun stream we've ever had, and tomorrow I will be debating Comrade Rabbit over economics. Until then, I'll see you, and stay based.